Today's game is presented by the iHelp Loan Program from SLFC.
During today's game, we're going to give you the tools to help you find your college, scholarships, and grants that you can have just for applying.
Enjoy the game, and we'll see you later on to put your game plan in motion.
The Great American Rivalry has made its first stop. We are in Alcoa, Tennessee at Bill Bay Stadium. It is the dramatic annual showdown known as the Battle of Pistol Creek. Alcoa's Tornadoes and the Rebels of Maryville about to do damage to one another. Hello, everyone. Robert Williamson as we get set. Watch two teams who have faced one another 84 times in the previous past. The 85th meeting of these two squads. Let me introduce to you our global audience, a gentleman who's been a part of some of those. You've had an opportunity to watch these two teams battle one another in the past. A 1990 of Alcoa High School. David Ballman, great to have you with us.
Robert, I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here for the 10th anniversary of the Rivalry Series. And we're just, it's a pleasure to bring this game to you. Outstanding, as you said, 85th meeting. Two storied programs here in the state of Tennessee, 13 state titles for the Maryville Rebels, 12 for the Alcoa Tornadoes. 7 times these two teams have gone on to win state titles the same year in their respective classes. So you're also talking about two historic coaches in the state of Tennessee, Gary Rankin with 9 state titles, George Quarles with 9 state titles as well. So outstanding rivalry. As you said, I graduated here in '90, so I've seen my fair share of these games.
Well, this rivalry just continues to grow. You look out, crowds on hand. They're their way up the hills outside of the stadium. It is warm. We're packed into a cubby hole, but heck, we want to be here as well. The state matchup, are we going to be disappointed?
Going to be disappointed at all. I think it's going to be very similar to the middle school game we just saw the end of. Finished 30-22. And talking to both coaching staffs this week, they both feel like it ought to be a high-scoring game. So that's what fans love to see, a little bit of offense, and it ought to be a good battle. I'm not sure if both coaching staffs feel like they're going to have a hard time stopping each other. But this is always a great game, always a good rivalry, and they just keep trying to add something to it each year. Last year's ESPN came out, and this year they added the middle school game beforehand, so they always try something just to kind of add to the experience of the game.
Well, always an outside factor where the ball game is concerned is the weather. I don't think the weather has an impact with the exception of the heat, but heck, we're in August, and we're in the deep south. It's supposed to be warm.
We are, but I'll say this, Robert. It's been a cool fall by East Tennessee standards, actually, and the heat has really come up this week. I even read Butch Jones, Tennessee's new football comment. It should have been this hot a little bit earlier because they start their season Saturday as well, and I know both coaches are a little bit concerned about that, and that may play a part here in the fourth quarter. Maryville's a bigger school, 6A school, 1,500 students. Alcoa 3A school with about 500 students, and Maryville's got a little more depth to their team, and we may see the heat come into play here this afternoon.
Well, heat is an appropriate word, I would say, but you've been in the heat of some of those battles. You remember some of the big moments. We're going to take a break. When we come back, you talk about some of the big moments you remember right here at Bill Bailey or maybe over in Maryville as well. We'll take a break first, though, on the Great American Rivalry Series.
The Great American Rivalry Series. 48 classic matchups nationwide. The biggest moments under the brightest lights. Hardcore great American football the way it was meant to be. In the stands and on the fields. Be a part of the action when the greatest show in high school sports comes to a town near you. The Great American Rivalry Series. Presented by the United States Marines. From Alcoa. Who's your rival?
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports. Welcome to the biggest games in high school football, the Great American Rivalry Series. 46 matchups, each one a classic. These are the nights you'll always remember. This is football, the way it was meant to be. In the stands and in the trenches, the Rivalry Series is the real thing. Don't miss out when the greatest show in high school sports comes to town. Go to GreatAmericanRivalry.com. The Great American Rivalry Series for My High.
The Great American Rivalry Series. 48 classic matchups nationwide. The biggest moments under the brightest lights. Hardcore great American football the way it was meant to be. In the stands and on the fields. Be a part of the action when the greatest show in high school sports comes to a town near you. The Great American Rivalry Series. Presented by the United States Marines. From High. Who's your rival?
About some of the great moments in the past. It's our Hibbets moment, and it's one of the big reasons tonight's game and every game they play is an epic showdown. David Ballman, what's one of those big moments you remember here?
For me, it'd be my earliest memories of the rivalry. You know, obviously going to high school here, it's a huge deal and a big rivalry. And as a high school junior in 1988, you know, Maryville had kind of owned the series for the last couple years. They'd won 17 of the last 18. And I can remember that morning, you know, the duck pond is down here in between the high schools and the elementary school. There's a big rebel flag stuck in the middle, on a float in the middle of the duck pond. So that got everybody fired up and came out, and it was a 26-25 ball game that Alcoa ended up winning. And then, of course, the next year when Alcoa won state, they actually shut Maryville out. First time they shut Maryville out since 1957. So those are probably two of the big moments that stand out to me as a junior and senior in high school. You know, I think last year's obviously a huge moment for the programs with the national exposure they got from ESPN and had a great ball game, a back-and-forth ball game until Maryville scored with about 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter to go ahead by, you know, less than a touchdown on the ensuing kickoff. A confusion between the back guy and the up back in front of him. You know, they both looked at each other and it bounced in between them. Maryville recovered the very next play, and then Alcoa shook up a little bit, turned the ball in, and Maryville got another late score. But you know, that was a memorable game as well. Just the atmosphere of Sunday afternoon, Maryville's brand new turf field. So you know, this game, as I said, has had a lot of memories and a lot of great times. But for me, it would be the big 1-point win. Planted the flag in the middle of the duck pond.
Well, if you needed any additional motivation, if you're Alcoa, than the fact that you lost a year ago to this Maryville squad, what about the fact that that's the only regular season loss you suffered during the course of the year was to this Maryville squad? So maybe there's just even a little more reason for some revenge on Alcoa's part.
There is. This has always been heated. These schools are separated 10 miles. A lot of these kids grow up as friends. You know? Kids play with each other and against each other their whole career. So the thing that's interesting about this rivalry, it's not quite as heated as it was, I guess, when I was in high school. It's a little bit more friendly now. I think that they've gone on to a little more of a respect from both coaching staffs, and that's a big reason for it. The coaching staffs have grown closer. And you know, as I said, there's been a number of years, especially the last 10, where both teams have gone on to win state. And in this game, you know, the loss for whoever loser this game.
I like the new format that they came up with tonight, and that's having the two middle schools face one another prior to the varsity outing.
Yes, it's a great game as well, and a lot of the future players you're going to see in this game. And you know, that's one thing about this. This game is, for both of them, a lot of times it has been their first game of the year. This is technically week 1 in the state of Tennessee. You know, they started week 0, what they call it, where some teams can choose to play, and then that way they have a bye during the regular season. So you know, this is the biggest game a lot of these kids will ever play in. You know, those middle school kids got to experience that tonight with the huge crowd that came on hand a little bit early to see that.
Well, if you want to know if a game has rivalry status, all you've got to do is be at the stadium about 6 hours prior to kickoff. And if there are fans already drifting in, if there's tailgate parties going on in the parking lot at about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, you know you got a big-time rival, and that's what we've got here. It is the 10th anniversary of the Great American Rivalry Series. It's presented by the United States Marine. We break it down and give you a look inside the game. And get a prediction from David Ballman as to who he thinks just might come out the victor in this one right after we take this time out on the Great American Rivalry Series.
Welcome to the biggest games in high school football, the Great American Rivalry Series. 46 matchups, each one a classic. These are the nights you'll always remember. This is football, the way it was meant to be. In the stands and in the trenches, the Rivalry Series is the real thing. Don't miss out when the greatest show in high school sports comes to town. Go to GreatAmericanRivalry.com. The Great American Rivalry Series from Iowa.
The Great American Rivalry Series. 48 classic matchups nationwide. The biggest moments under the brightest lights. Hardcore great American football the way it was meant to be. In the stands and on the fields. Be a part of the action when the greatest show in high school sports comes to a town near you. The Great American Rivalry Series. Presented by the United States Marines. From I-High. Who's your rival?
There's no need to worry about how you're going to pay for college anymore. The iHelp loan program enables students to fill their needs when financing their education. If you need to borrow money for college, as most Americans do, SLFC and the iHelp loan program may be your best option. The loan features the most competitive rate available and is offered through your local ICBA bank with the help of SLFC, the student loan company thousands have trusted to help them pay for college. Go to slfc.com and explore all your options now.
The Great American Rivalry Series presented by the United States Marines and Hibbett Sports. We are right at 16 minutes away from game time. Game time shoved back just a bit because of the middle school outing that we mentioned that took place prior to this one. Alcoa winning that one by 8. And we were going to talk about breaking it down, taking a look at who should win in this one. But before we do, you mentioned some interesting things going on campus as we were talking between the break. It's more than just a football game, isn't it?
No, this is a whole event. This is a week-long event. This is kind of like homecoming. And to be honest, for the students and even the faculty, this is more, more fun than homecoming week. There's a dress-up day every day. There's activities planned throughout the week. I'm a teacher right now. I teach math at Alcoa, and it's hard to get anything done today. The kids are all fired up. Everybody's painted up. They've got the band playing in the hallways between classes, so the kids come to your class fired up, and it's hard to get them calmed back down to teach anything and learn anything. And your best bet is just to give a test. But, this is a huge event, and from what I understand, it's the same thing that goes on all week at Maryville. Another big thing going on is the Second Harvest Food Drive that both schools try to raise money and see who raises the most money. And because of that, there's a lot of events, get out of class, pay $1 to go watch this or go watch that. So it's just a lot of things going on. Pretty busy week. Hard to keep kids focused.
Everything up until game time is a lead up to, but when we kick the football off, that shifts the focus down onto the 100 yards beneath us. This is one of those games where it's hard to predict because both teams have lost a lot of talent, especially on the defensive side of the football. So are we going to have an offense?
As I said, talking to both coaches this week, that's kind of how they feel. I know the Alcoa staff feels like they can score on Maryville, but, they're a little bit worried about are they going to be able to stop them. And from talking to some friends at Maryville High School, they feel the same way. They feel good about their chances of scoring, but they're a little worried about if they're going to be able to slow down the Alcoa offense. So, as you said, this is probably the least inexperienced that both of these teams have come in collectively in a number of years. They're still going to be good, and they're still going to be very good in their respective classes. But you're looking at about 3 or 4 starters on both sides of the ball for both teams coming back. So a lot of questions will be answered tonight in a game like this, and they've both already. Alcoa with a 38-0 win over Smith. in a relatively easy game. And Maryville played a little bit tougher opponent, Webb, which is a small private school in Knoxville with some talented players, but just not the numbers and the depth that Maryville had. And they won pretty handily. So this will be the first real test to find out what they've got from some of these younger, more inexperienced players.
Before we break it down on an individual basis, let's talk about last week. You've got an Alcoa squad that takes on a bigger school, but maybe not a renowned winning program. You've got a Maryville team that takes on a smaller squad, but one that's played championship games. Can we call anything at all from week 1 or week 0, as you mentioned earlier?
It's hard to say just because Webb is a good program, but they run the wing tee, and they can do that at their level, but at this level, it's not quite as successful. And Alcoa is kind of just a scrimmage for them. A long trip, chance to get out there in the lights, Friday night lights, and get some experience. So, I would say, Maryville probably got maybe a little more out of the game than Alcoa did, but, both going to be a different style that they're going to see this week than what they saw from Webb last week.
12 away from the opening kickoff. When we come back, down on an individual basis, what has Alcoa got to do to win it? What has Maryville got to do to be on top at the end of this one? This is the 10th anniversary of the Great American Rivalry Series. It's presented by the United States Marines.
The Great American Rivalry Series. 48 classic matchups nationwide. The biggest moments under the brightest lights. Hardcore great American football the way it was meant to be. In the stands and on the field. Be a part of the action when the greatest show in high school sports comes to a town near you. The Great American Rivalry Series. Presented by the United States Marines. From Alcoa. Who's your rival?
There are a few who move toward the sounds of chaos. Forged in the crucible of training, they are the first to move toward the sounds of tyranny, injustice, and despair. They are the few, the proud, the Marines.
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
There's no need to worry about how you're going to pay for college anymore. The I-Help loan program enables students to fill their needs when financing their education. If you need to borrow money for college, as most Americans do, SLFC and the I-Help loan program may be your best option. The loan features the most competitive rate available and is offered through your local ICBA bank with the help of SLFC, the student loan company thousands have trusted to help them pay for college. Go to slfc.com and explore all your options now.
The Great American Rivalry Series. 48 classic matchups nationwide. The biggest moments under the brightest lights. Hardcore great American football the way it was meant to be. In the stands and on the field. Be a part of the action when the greatest show in high school sports comes to a town near you. The Great American Rivalry Series. Presented by the United States Marines. From I-High. Who's your rival?
Live from Alcoa, Tennessee, this is the Great American Rivalry Series presented by the United States Marines and Hibbett Sports. David Baldwin, we've talked about already that it's not just about football, but there are many more festivities that go on during the Great American Rivalry Series rivals. And prior to this one, football fans got an opportunity to see some top scholar athletes from both Alcoa and Maryville.
They did, and that's something else about these schools. Obviously they've got a great football program, football history, but both these schools are some of the top-ranked schools in the state as far as their academic scores as well, and have turned out great students, and they recognize two of those students tonight, John David Mitchell from Maryville and John Riley McLaughlin from Alcoa High School. And
it's to highlight those athletes that work hard on and off the field, and they're proud to be receiving, I'm sure, these outstanding awards. John, a 3-year letterman on the varsity football team, a 2-year letterman on the track and field team. He's been a member of the MHS orchestra for 3 years. Boy, that's multi-talented when you can play athletics and then you can play well. And then, of course, John Riley McLaughlin is a competitor on the field and in the classroom. His passions include football, his family, and his faith. He is a 3-year letterman in football and a member of the National Honor Society, who is an accomplished musician, by the way, who plays both the violin and the piano. So that's got to be very unique in that you've got two outstanding athletes, two outstanding scholars, but scholars who also have those musical talents and abilities as well.
That is, two well-rounded young men.
Of course, it's the pregame festivities that not only recognize those two outstanding scholar athletes, John David again from Maryville High School and John Riley McLaughlin from Alcoa High School. The Marines also had their Hall of Fame award presentation, which we will get to in a moment. But again,
John Riley's younger brother is a sophomore, a heck of a golfer. The golf team has a great win state this year.
Aspirations in the future. Football at an Ivy League school while studying economics and minoring in music. Again, congratulations to John Riley McLaughlin. John David Mitchell, his plans are to attend Wheaton College in Chicago, pursue a degree in law. And a couple of gentlemen, Marine Sergeant Sorrell, Marine Sergeant Ross, were presenting those awards during the pregame ceremony, and those are two gentlemen that we hope opportunity to speak with personally later on in the broadcast.
Yes, and John David was one of the returning starters in the Maryville secondary. Another interesting fact, John Riley McLaughlin actually started his high school career at Maryville High School and transferred over just last year. In fact, transferred the day after this game. The game was played on Sunday. He's a student at Alcoa High School next Monday.
So congratulations again to both. Hall of Fame award presentation took place earlier as well. The Great American Rivalry Series and the United States Marine Corps announcing their annual Hall of Fame inductees. The Maryville game from Maryville High School, Ted Wilson. He was a coach that played 4 years at Maryville College and served as co-captain in 1957 with little All-American Bud White. Starting his coaching career at Maryville Junior High School in '58. Coached 5 years before returning to his alma mater in 1963. And I know that Maryville is not where you graduated from, but this is a small community, and you're aware of these even years gone by.
Very much so. Maryville's named after Coach Wilson. Coach Wilson also coached Roy Kramer, the former SEC commissioner. You know, he was the one who's credited with starting the Maryville dynasty, as they like to say over there, and started the first of their state championships run. So Coach Wilson is a legend at Maryville High School.
As a matter of fact, he finished his career at Kingsport Dobbins Bennett from 82 to 91 with a career record of 242 wins against just 53 losses. And of course, we didn't leave Alcoa out of the pregame ceremonies as well. Todd Upton recognized he was a standout lineman for the Tornado. Between 79 and 81, established himself as one of the most dominant players in Alcoa football history.
He is, and he went on to have a great career at the University of Tennessee, where he played lineman there. And Todd's mother, Geraldine Upton, was my guidance counselor. She was a longtime guidance counselor here at Alcoa High School. So the Upton family is another very prominent family in the Alcoa community.
Todd in the Alcoa-Maryville rivalry game from his sophomore to senior year on both offense and defense was a standout for the 3 years again. Congratulations to Maryville's Ted Wilson, to Alcoa's Todd Upton, who are inducted into the Great American Rivalries Hall of Fame. Well, we are just about to begin new moments, new memories, and renew the rivalry for the 85th time. We are 4 minutes away from kickoff This is the 10th anniversary of the Great American Rivalry Series. It is presented by the United States Marines.
Welcome to the biggest games in high school football, the Great American Rivalry Series. 46 matchups, each one a classic. These are the nights you'll always remember. This is football, the way it was meant to be. In the stands and in the trenches, the Rivalry Series is the real thing. Don't miss out when the greatest show in high school sports comes to town. Go to GreatAmericanRivalry.com. The Great American Rivalry Series from iHigh.
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
There are a few who move toward the sounds of tyranny, injustice, and despair. They are the few, the proud, the Marines. There are a few who move toward the sounds of chaos. Forged in the crucible of training, they are the first to move toward the sounds of tyranny, injustice, and despair. They are the few, the proud, the Marines.
There's no need to worry about.
There are a few who move toward the sounds of tyranny, injustice, and despair. They are the few, the proud, the Marines.
Alcoa in Tennessee, this is the Great American Rivalry Series by the United States Marines and Hibbett Sports. The coin toss has been won by Maryville. David Ballman, no shock they to football. When you've got an offensive powerhouse, you want first.
You do, and Maryville's field, maybe about 2 years ago, Alcoa came in as the favorites. Maryville did the same thing. They did not kick. Scored again right after that. In shock and never. Coach Quarles is no offensive, and he wants to get his offense. That's the strength of his team.
Well, we talked about earlier, we promoted the fact that we wanted to get a breakdown. What's Alcoa got to do to win this thing, and what's Maryville got to do?
Three other backs, and he'll run up to 7 yards, trigger touchdown. Now he's the worst in the backfield. Week against Smith, he only carried the ball 7, still had almost 150 yards and a couple touchdowns. I talked to the coach behind this game. Obviously Maryville match Alcoa on the scoreboard, and they're going to have to find some way to slow Jacquet.
Well, as much to convince us that this is, it ain't just another ball game. How quickly got the Rebels of the Tornadoes?
It'll happen pretty quick. Once you start to hit, you might get a knocked out of it if you're not ready. But there'll still be some nerves play. Both teams are playing back, so that's a little bit. Wall's second year as a starter. John Garrett, his first. People thought he started. Going into the season, they thought it'd be a bad to win it, but Nick Myers instead won the job. Had the great. Took it and ran on his way to state season, and John Garrett had a last. Those quarterbacks, I think, will help calm both teams down a little bit.
Austin Wallace standing with football on the hip. On the opposite end of the field. Deep to get this one well.
He is, and Prevost is the starter for Maryville. This year, if he gets over 1,000 yards, to be the all-time leading rusher in Maryville history. And as we said, that's a storied program. That's quite an accomplishment.
Wallace kick. It is not Prevost that makes the grab, but instead Jalen Burgess, the junior, and he tumbles out of bounds at the 32-yard line, and we've got this one underway at the 32, first down and 10 for Maryville.
That's one of that. Maryville had a little bit of an advantage. That's about as good as Wallace is going to kick it right. Does a good direction.
Look at that. Back John, back Burgess and Sean Prevost. His receivers are Cody Carroll and Tyler. And that line, Bryce on Wes Ferguson, Drew Curtis, Kelso, and Matt Howard. On the quarterback. In a tornado territory, you've got
John Garrett comes down that Maryville loves to run, put it in Prevost's gut and read the defensive end. He crashed hard, so Garrett kept it around the end, picked up nice yardage on.
That defense for Alcoa has Zach Wright, Braylon Young, Caleb Birchfield, and Jonathan Decker on the line. The linebacking core of Mitchell McCurg, Kellerman, and Jake Warren, the secondary after the handoff to Prevost, who makes his way to the 41-yard line. That secondary consists of John Riley McLaughlin. He is a good one on both offense and defense. Brendan Teeter, Dustin Claybo, Malik Love, Peyton, and Dylan Pratt.
Yeah, and that Braylon Young does a good job of penetration, and Prevost shows why he's rushed for so many yards. He's able to run through the trash at the line of scrimmage, as I call it.
Jared and his squad looking at a 2nd down and 7, football to the 41-yard line. Fake to Prevost. Garrett, target wide open, goes to his secondary receiver, hits Cody Carroll into the end zone, touchdown, and Maryville's on the board after 3 plays.
Garrett does an outstanding job. Almost looked like a triple option. He read the defense like he did on first down. This time the outside linebacker stepped up, and Garrett picked it up and threw it over their head. As someone had wide open, running the seam. Alcoa missed the tackle, and Cody Carroll's off to the races.
You're thinking for a moment, you just blew it, Garrett, because you got Tyler Vault wide open down the sidelines. But finding Cody Carroll is got the touchdown from 41 yards away. Extra point, it is up and good.
And the play right there, Robert, had one cornerback guarding 2 people, so he had his pick of open receivers there as the cornerback was in no man's land, both of them, and obviously couldn't guard either one.
7-zip score, Maryville, 11:04 to go in the first. This is the 10th anniversary of the Great American Rivalry Series, presented by the United States.
The Great American Rivalry Series. 48 classic matchups nationwide. The biggest moments under the brightest lights. Hardcore great American football the way it was meant to be. In the stands and on the field. Be a part of the action when the greatest show in high school sports comes to a town near you. The Great American Rivalry Series, presented by the United States Marines from Eye High. Who's your rival?
From Alcoa, Tennessee, this is the Great American Rivalry Series presented by the United States Marines and Sports. It is a 7-0 Maryville lead. A 3-play, 68-yard drive that consumed less than 50 seconds. And Maryville is on the board, but Alcoa, no problem. They'll just do the same thing. They get set to receive.
And that's going to be an important part of a rivalry like this, is that you answer.
The approach and kick at the 15. Got a running room up to the 40-yard line.
And that's senior Malik Love, who's the returning starter on both sides of the ball for Alcoa. Last week, Robert, first 2 times he touched the ball, took one 65 yards to the house, took the other one 70 yards to the house.
Well, very similar starts. You had an excellent return by Burgess across the 30 to the 32. Here you've got Love bringing it out to the 41-yard line. Taking a look at that starting lineup for Alcoa, you've got Peyton Wall at quarterback, Brody Hess and Jaquez Tyson in the backfield. He'll be tossing the football to a host of guys, including Malik Love and John Riley McLaughlin. And out to the 43-yard line. Gain of 2 or 3 when it looked like there would be absolutely nothing for Malik Love.
Alcoa comes out and sets you from their ghost set, but Peyton Wall, the quarterback, is the only one in the backfield. They went 5 wide, threw a little out to Malik, tried to get the ball to him in space.
Taking a look at that line, Ryan Clark on the offensive Alcoa, Blake Holder, Enrique Harvey, Miles Holmes, and Jacob. And we dropped behind the line of scrimmage. Going nowhere was Mr. Peyton Wall.
Formation for Alcoa this time looked like a designed run, but the snap's a little bit low and threw the timing off, and Maryville does a great job of getting penetration in the backfield as Dylan Shinsky, returning starter for Maryville, is in on the first 2 tackles.
Looking at that Maryville defense on the line, Dylan Jackson, Richie Coons, Kyle Withrow, as well as Matt Young, the linebacking core of T.D. Blackman, Ethan Dudley, Dylan Shinsky. The secondary after Wall drops back, wants to pass for the first time in the ball game. The southpaw's got a target open, but he misfires. The intended guy was John Riley McLaughlin.
Yeah, had McLaughlin running wide open down the field, a little post pattern, and Wall just a little bit amped up, throws it over his head. So not the start Alcoa wanted, and we talked about getting Jaquez Tyson the ball 20 times, and he's not touched it yet, and Alcoa's punting.
Quick look at the secondary, by the way. You had Chancellor Coates, Marcus Brooks, John David Mitchell, and Paul Bristol in the secondary for Maryville. Boy, this is going quick. You're trying to just name 11 guys for each side of the football, and you've already got a touchdown and 4 and out for Alcoa, where it is 4th down and 11. The Wall punt, fielded at the 20-yard line. Up to the 28. And you got some guys from Alcoa saying, welcome to a big-time rivalry, Mr. Marcus Brooks.
Yeah, and that's a big hit that time for Alcoa's number 43, Brody Hess. They're starting fullback when they do go with 2 backfield. And your punter there is Peyton Wall, the quarterback. So look for maybe later in the game, Alcoa maybe to run a fake with him, punting the ball off, so able to throw it, obviously.
Timeout on the field. It is a 7-0 Maryville lead with 9:30 to play in the first. This is the 10th anniversary of the Great American Rivalry Series presented by the United States Marines.
Got the local television broadcast.
There's no need to worry about how you're going to pay for college anymore. The iHelp Loan Program enables students to fill their needs when financing their education. If you need to borrow money for college, as most Americans do, SLFC and the iHelp Loan Program may be your best option. The loan features the most competitive rate available and is offered through your local ICBA bank with the help of SLFC, the student loan company thousands have trusted to help them pay for college. Go to slfc.com and explore all your options now.
9 minutes, 30 seconds left to play in the first. 7-0 Maryville lead, live from Alcoa, Tennessee. This is the Great American Rivalry Series presented by the United States Marines and Hibbett Sports. You were talking during the timeout. There have been games when no passes have been thrown by Alcoa. That won't happen tonight, as you had an incompletion by Peyton Walls on third down.
Yeah, Coach Rankin came out the first series, got away a little bit from what he likes to do. As I said, 41-24 win by Alcoa in 2009. Alcoa didn't throw a single pass. They just absolutely dominated in the running game, and had a young man, Jerron Toney, at the University of Tennessee now, as a nickelback, who set a state record that year for touchdowns. So I would look for Coach Rankin to get back to a little bit more traditional I formation, maybe even power backfield, and pound Jaquez Tyson a little bit this next possession.
First down and 10 for Maryville. Football is at the 27-yard line. You hate to say that this is a crucial down or series of downs so early, but if you are Alcoa and Maryville just rushes down the field like they did on the previous series of downs and grabs a 14-0 lead early, that's not insurmountable, but it hurts early.
Yeah, there's been 3 plays on both sides of the ball, and then Maryville scored quickly in 3 and then stuffed Alcoa quickly in 3. So, it's very early, but it's very important that Alcoa gets a stop right here. At least shows the ability to slow the Maryville offense down. They didn't show much of that the first drive, so they're going to have to see if there's any adjustments. Again, talking to Alcoa coaches this week, they were worried about the read option play, and that's something Maryville ran 2 out of those 3 plays.
Couple of receivers to both sides for John Garrett, working from the gun with a first down and 10. Handoff goes to Prevost, and Prevost squeaks out 3.
As he loses a shoe, Braylon Young throws Prevost's shoe into the backfield, but great penetration again by the Alcoa defensive line. Robert, that is one area Alcoa's inexperienced on the defense, the defense as a whole, but their defensive line is definitely the strength. Braylon Young, returning All-State player. Zach Wright, a transfer from White County that the coaches are very high on as well.
Prevost to the sidelines, lacing on the cleats. It is Burgess in the lineup. Handoff is fake to Burgess. Garrett across the 35 to the 39-yard line, and he's got enough for the first. The sticks will move. Who did you say threw Prevost's shoe away moments ago? Was it an Alcoa guy?
It was defensive tackle Braylon Young.
That is a smart play, because he knows that if Prevost can reach down immediately and put it on, he's in for the next play. He throws it away, so Prevost's got to go to the sidelines to lace up the cleats.
He does, and the last play you see what makes John Garrett such a good quarterback for Maryville. Great basketball player as well, and we call him the crafty one on the basketball court, and he showed it there.
John Garrett picking up enough for the first. Prevost back in the lineup. Shoes and all, and he bounces it to the outside. Made something out of nothing. Looked like he was snuffed out of the line of scrimmage and gets 6.
Robert, early on this drive, Alcoa doing a better job defensively, being in the right place, but not able to get him on the ground. As they had Prevost stopped in the backfield, he's able to score away for 7. The previous play looked like they had Garrett hemmed up in the backfield, and he's able to put a move on a couple defenders and pick up the first down.
3 yards shy of tornado territory. Give goes to Burgess. He's got the first. Lowers the nose and the shoulder pads and makes his way to the 48-yard line, and those markers on the far sidelines will move again.
And Braylon Young again with penetration, frustrated. He's not quite able to get in the backfield. Offensive line from Maryville's holding him out just enough as the backs are running quick hitters and hitting it up in there before he can make a play.
Back inside tornado territory. First down, 10. Fake to Burgess. Garrett on the keeper. And he's able to get 3 out of the play, possibly 4. 2nd and 6 coming up.
Garrett again just showing his craftiness. It doesn't look like there's much there. He squirts through and gets through a crowd and gets a positive gain on first down.
A reminder to football fans, grab your phone and text MVP to 57758 to get a 10% off coupon for your next trip to Hibbett Sports. By texting, you'll be opted into the Hibbett Sports messaging service. You'll get a 10% off coupon right now. Plus, you'll be set to receive all our hottest deals by text. Third down, 7, and there was contact, and there's a flag.
Defensive back Dustin Claybo, just a sophomore, got there way early as he made contact with the tight end, looked like, lined up out there, or in a formation for Maryville. Different formation at times. They had trips to this side of the field, flanker tight end to the other, and looked like they tried to hit the tight end. Claybo just got there way too early.
Well, if you're thinking that flag came out late, it's because the umpire reached into the wrong pocket. Boy, he was trying to get that flag out and call the pass interference on Claybo. By the way, your officiating crew for tonight's ball game, the referee is Jerry Anders, the umpire Jerry Barnes, line judge Robert Moore, Mike Singh is the linesman, field judge Rick Pope, side judge Chris Clark, back judge is Jerry Cohen, and running the clock, Bruce Larson. Penalty yardage marked off. Well, there have been first downs via the pass, via the run, now by the penalty as the give goes to Burgess. And Burgess got running room up the middle, 15 down to the 10. Inside the 10 goes Burgess.
Big hole for Burgess, fumble on the play, but they're going to rule him down as Maryville has consistently run the ball to the left side on this drive. Maybe they found something in the Alcoa defense or they feel good about the left side of their line. But whether it's been Prevost, whether it's been Burgess, they've consistently run the ball to the left side on this drive.
7:25 to go in the first. Already a touchdown on the board for Maryville and trying to get more. Garrett at the 8. Fakes to Prevost, takes it up the middle, and John Garrett makes it a 13-0 Maryville lead.
Just made it look easy. Alcoa again showed a little resistance early on in the drive. Just couldn't get them tackled on the ground. The last 3 or 4 plays, though, Maryville made it look awful easy as they're able to stick it in again and get an early control of this ball game.
Caleb Nelson trying to make it a 14-zip game. Out of the hold of Garrett, the kick is up. The officials say it's good. And a couple of touchdowns and a couple of extra points makes it Maryville 14, Alcoa zip with 7:16 to go in the first. This is the 10th anniversary of the Great American Rivalry Series presented by the United States Marines.
The Great American Rivalry Series. 48 classic matchups nationwide. The biggest moments under the brightest lights. Hardcore great American football the way it was meant to be. In the stands and on the fields. Be a part of the action when the greatest show in high school sports comes to a town near you. The Great American Rivalry Series. Presented by the United States Marines. From I-High. Who's your rival?
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
Luke Oren with the kick. Trickles into the end zone. The touchback means you got the worst field position of the ball game thus far at the 20-yard line, 80 yards away from pay dirt. 7:16 left to play in the first stanza. 14-zip Maryville. You're live from Alcoa, Tennessee. Great American Rivalry Series presented by the United States Marines and by Hibbett Sports. David, we're early. I mean, we're not halfway through the first, but this is a big series of downs for Alcoa.
It's huge, and Alcoa's already come out with their two tight end look and fullback in the game. So after not touching the first, they look for Tyson to get the ball a little bit here.
Absolutely nothing up the middle.
No, great penetration by the Maryville defensive line as there's just nowhere for Jaquez Tyson to go.
Tyson had big yardage on limited carries a Friday night ago, but the running tough at least early in this one.
Yeah, not able to find anything. And as Maryville's got a player in their defensive line, number 79, Dylan Jackson, just a junior. It's already been offered by Tennessee and Vanderbilt and being looked at by a number of other schools as he's a very talented player for the Rebels.
Peyton Wall has already gone upstairs once. That being an incompletion. It was on third down, but he'll toss on second. Tip to the line of scrimmage, incomplete.
Tried to run a screen pass to Tyson that time, but again, the Maryville defensive line early on is controlling the line of scrimmage making it tough for Alcoa to run anything on the offensive end. And the young Alcoa offensive line, inexperienced Alcoa offensive line, as they lost 4 starters from last year. The only returning starter they had coming back, Kyle Mitchell, is not playing tonight as he suffered a knee injury and is probably going to miss the first half of the season as he just recently had surgery. So none of these linemen have played in this game.
And you don't like these scenarios where it's 3rd and long and probably a passing situation. Of course, instead it's the lay up the middle. Tyson is pushed around to the 22-yard line. Looked for a moment as though he may have lost the football, but apparently got it back.
Yeah, does a great job breaking a tackle early on, but then looked like Dylan Shinsky came in and just laid a big hit on Tyson as he is a strong runner, and Shinsky dropped him on that second contact.
Peyton Wall again to punt, deep to receive Cody Carroll. Carroll already with a 41-yard touchdown reception to his credit.
And very dangerous as a returner.
Stands at his own 48 and then backs up a few. Per instructions from the sideline as Peyton Wall gets ready to deliver. Low snap, picks it up off the bounce. And then a line drive should take an Alcoa roll. It does. Down to the 21-yard line.
Great punt from Wall, not giving Carroll the chance to return it and setting Maryville up their worst field position so far in the ball game. Maybe the Alcoa defense can come out and respond a little bit, but again, another quick 3 and out. They've been on the field quite a bit, this Alcoa defense has, early on in the first quarter.
5 minutes, 38 seconds left to play. Stanza number 1. It is a 14-zip Maryville lead. This is the 10th anniversary of the Great American Rivalry Series, presented by the United States Marines.
The Great American Rivalry Series. 48 classic matchups nationwide. The biggest moments under the brightest lights. Hardcore great American football the way it was meant to be. In the stands and on the fields. Be a part of the action when the greatest show in high school sports comes to a town near you. The Great American Rivalry Series, presented by the United States Marines from I-High. Who's your rival?
Welcome to the biggest games in high school football, the Great American Rivalry Series. 46 matchups, each one a classic. These are the nights you'll always remember. This is football, the way it was meant to be. In the stands and in the trenches, the Rivalry Series is the real thing. Don't miss out when the greatest show in high school sports comes to town. Go to GreatAmericanRivalry.com. The Great American Rivalry Series from I-High.
Maryville 14, Alcoa zip. 5 minutes, 38 seconds left in the first. Live from Alcoa, Tennessee. This is the Great American Rivalry Series, presented by the United States Marines and Hibbett Sports. Well, we talked about it after drive 1. Said drive 2 is crucial. They score on drive 2. Does Maryville drive 3? Does it get each drive into the game more crucial that Alcoa hold that Maryville squad, or this game gets out of hand early?
Most definitely, especially when you consider the fact that Alcoa is yet to get a first down. So, it's imperative that they get a stop here until they get things figured out a little bit offensively. But right now, they're a defense that is reeling with from the Rebel offense.
Garrett's got Prevost by his side. A lot of receivers, but he hasn't thrown much. Looked like he wanted to throw there, but a penalty will stop the play.
Looked like some movement from the Maryville offensive front to start that Alcoa needed for this drive that they've got to get a stop on.
5-yard mark off against the Rebels.
And that's something early on, Robert, that the Rebel offense has been able to do. They've stayed ahead of the chains. Haven't had any negative plays. They've been able to pick up yardage even when it's not been a lot, but they've picked up yardage and kept themselves in good down and distances.
1st and 15. Prevost, the guy in motion, and you got it again. Another whistle, another flag.
They can call it again. I think they may be calling this on the center because the center is getting down, and then as he looks back and he comes back up, and there's a pretty good movement right there. That may be what they're calling as he drops his head down to snap the ball. I believe that is what they're calling is the center with a lot of wiggle there.
Well, you can't do that many more times. Back to the 11-yard line goes Maryville, where it is now first down at 20. And the worst field position of the ball game gets a little worse. It looked like Garrett was going to run the same play. Let's see if they stick with it. Nope, instead the handoff across the 15 to the 16-yard line.
Just run their off-tackle play to their senior running back, Sean Prevost, does a good job putting his head down and picking up some tough yardage, at least getting, again, something positive. They're still behind the chains a little bit, but a lot better than second and 20.
Got 7 of the penalty yards back to the 18-yard line, where it is second down 13. A very slowly expiring first quarter clock.
Yeah, it's not. It seems like we've been playing a lot longer than this.
Another give to Prevost across the 30. Still on his feet to the 41-yard line. Prevost makes it a first and 10 for Maryville.
And a huge hole up the middle that time by the Maryville offensive line. And one thing I didn't talk about, both these head coaches had a lot of success, but they don't accomplish these things without the assistant coaches that they've got. And David Ellis, who's the offensive line coach for the Maryville Rebels, considered one of the best offensive line coaches, probably in the state, if not one of the best assistant coaches in all of the state of Tennessee. Just does an outstanding job year in and year out.
Another give to Prevost. Gets back almost to the line of scrimmage. Actually hit a couple of yards deep, but is able to stick that arm forward and get close to the line of scrimmage. Loss of about the length of the football.
And Alcoa on a run blitz that time is linebacker Keller Maples is one that is able to shoot through the gap and at least get a hold of Prevost in the backfield. That's one thing Prevost will do. Should have been a 3-yard loss. Looked like he turns it into at least no gain. And he's not the biggest back, but he's not easy to get down.
Fake to Burgess. Garrett had his guy open but could not get it into the hands of Tyler Vaught, and you can credit the pass rush for the incompletion.
Yeah, the all-state defense tackle Braylon Young is able to put some pressure on him as there's a bust in the Alcoa secondary. Tyler Vaught, who's also the backup quarterback for Maryville, just running wide open down the middle of the field. But Garrett had to rush his throw a little bit, maybe put a little bit too much on it on the line instead of just giving a little bit of air. But you can credit Braylon Young with helping the Alcoa secondary there.
Garrett hung on to that football as long as he could. The incomplete pass brings up a third down and 10. You would think a passing down, but they've been very successful on the ground. Garrett wants to go upstairs. Nothing there. Tucks it in. Knocked down behind the line of scrimmage. It will be officially registered as a sack as he lost about a half yard.
Again, it's Braylon Young that gets there to make the sack, but I think you can credit that one to the Alcoa secondary because Garrett had to hold it, pull it down, and try to scramble a little bit as the Alcoa does a much better job of covering in the secondary that time, allowing Young the time to get there, and a huge stop from the Alcoa defense.
If you're Alcoa looking for one of those moral victories, you just got one as Maryville is stopped on third down and long. Wobbly punt that hits at the 28-yard line, rolls down to the 25. And that's where Alcoa will take over this offensive series, down 14-zip.
Yeah, and Alcoa, again, they've got a great staff as well, and Coach Brian Gossett does a great job with the Alcoa offensive line. So we'll see if they've been able to make any adjustments after the first two series without a first down. Alcoa just looking to pick up a first down right here, get a little bit of momentum going offensively. Again, come out in a two tight end set, high backfield.
First down and 10. Wall with the pitch to Tyson. Got running room across the 30, and he just carried Rebels with him to the 33-yard line.
Good job that time, Jaquez, as they pitched it outside, put his foot in the ground and got upfield. That's what he does best, is get north and south. So a positive play for Alcoa on first down is they needed that. They need a first down badly just to get the clock going, get their defense a rest over here on the sideline.
Clock winding down, inside 3 minutes to play in the first. Nick Miller goes wide right again from the I formation on a second down and a long two. Tyson, he's got that long two and a little bit more. Crosses the 38 to the 39-yard line, and for the first time in the ball game, Alcoa will see the chains on the far sidelines move.
And you can hear the Alcoa faithful down here in front of us. They realize the importance of that first down and building a little bit of momentum. As that time, Brody Hess, who is the fullback for Alcoa, does an outstanding job of picking up the linebacker in the hole, allowing Tyson to make the cutoff of him and pick up the first down.
First down and 10. Miller in motion. And it was going to be a bit of a flea flicker, but there was problems from the outset.
Looked like a double clutch to snap a little bit. I think he's trying to time it and snap it directly to the motion man. And that's a tricky play to run. You know, it's got to be timed perfectly. And the center just maybe double clutched it. He was ready to snap, and I don't think Miller was where he was supposed to be. So that's maybe why you saw when he did snap it, high arching snap that Miller had to jump a little bit for.
Well, how often do you see an illegal procedure against the center? And we've seen it 3 times tonight already.
So Alcoa back, same formation, same look.
Handoff is fake to Miller. Wall runs into a wall.
And the defensive line for Maryville once again establishing themselves, as that's number 77, Kyle Withrow, just a sophomore, able to make a big play for the Rebel defensive front as they faked the same thing this time. Instead of direct snapping it to Miller, they faked it. Wall kept it, and every time Wall has kept the ball, the Rebel defense has not been fooled at all.
Second down, we'll call it 15. Wall may have gotten back to the line of scrimmage. 14-zip score. Didn't take long. 50-some-odd seconds into the ball game. Maryville's got 7 on the board. And now you've got a timeout asked for by Alcoa. 1:17 to play in the first. A 14-0 Maryville lead. This is the 10th anniversary of the Great American Rivalry Series. It's presented by the United States Marines.
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
There's no need to worry about how you're going to pay for college anymore. The iHelp loan program enables students to fill their needs when financing their education. If you need to borrow money for college, as most Americans do, SLFC and the iHelp loan program may be your best option. The loan features the most competitive rate available and is offered through your local ICBA bank with the help of SLFC, the student loan company thousands have trusted to help them pay for college. Go to slfc.com and explore all your options now.
Wall with a pass to Tyson. Tyson squeaks out a yard, but he needed many more.
Yeah, they lined Jaquez Tyson up in the slot on the right side, tried to bring him all the way across the formation. Great job by the Rebels defense, particularly number 41, Ethan Dudley, staying home, not being fooled, and he's there as soon as Tyson caught the ball, is able to drop him for no gain.
Great American Rivalry Series heads to Pennsylvania tomorrow night. 7 o'clock kickoff. Aliquippa taking on Ambridge. Wall. Give goes to Tyson. Across the 40 to the 44-yard line. About 5 shy of where he needed to get it. Will be 4th and long.
Yeah, Alcoa just got away from that a little bit. Robert came out and gave it to them twice early on to get a first down. Then they tried the reverse, then the direct snap to Nick Miller. Then they came out and did the same look and faked it this time. The Wall kept it and just ended up getting themselves behind the sticks and instead of just feeding Tyson the ball.
Peyton Wall handling the punting chores, which poses an interesting situation. There are situations, possibly here, I doubt it, but maybe, where you've got the option to kick it away or try to pick up the first. I'm thinking you're still too deep inside your own territory, down by a couple of touchdowns, to think about a fake punt on fourth.
Yeah, Alcoa with a little bit of momentum now after finally getting a stop on Maryville, getting a first down at least, and showing some positive things offensively. You know, it may still be a little early as we're just now getting to the end of the first quarter to think about a fake punt.
So the quarter comes to an end before the Wall punt. We've got one quarter under our belts. Maryville with a 14-0 advantage. This is the 10th anniversary of the Great American Rivalry Series presented by the United States Marines.
Welcome to the biggest games in high school football, the Great American Rivalry Series. 46 matchups, each one a classic. These are the nights you'll always remember. This is football, the way it was meant to be. In the stands and in the trenches, the Rivalry Series is the real thing. Don't miss out when the greatest show in high school sports comes to town. Go to GreatAmericanRivalry.com. The Great American Rivalry Series from iHigh.
$14-0 advantage. Maryville with a lead. Live from Alcoa as Wall gets the punt down to the 20-yard line. Flags fly, and let's see if Maryville will indeed start at the 23-yard line after the return of Carroll, or whether penalty yardage will shove them backwards. We're live from Alcoa, Tennessee, the Great American Rivalry Series. It's presented by the United States Marines and Hibbett Sports. Sarah Sharp with us, and she is, of course, and we're going to look back at this camera right here. Sarah, if you don't mind. You didn't know you were going to be on camera.
No, I didn't.
Tonight as well. We kind of snuck that in on you, but certainly thank you very much for everything you do for the Great American Rivalry Series, and talk specifically about that ticket design. So it's a nice-looking ticket. You don't see it in any normal high school football game.
It is. It's a great-looking ticket, and Hibbett Sports is so excited to be here and support two of the top high school programs in the country with Alcoa and Maryville. And the back of the ticket, if you turn it over, you'll see it has a message to text FAN to 57758, and fans can actually get a 10% off coupon to their local Hibbett Sports store.
Tell me who came up with the idea about the ticket, though, because I know you're kind of racking your brain. What do we do that's a little bit different? That's different for a high school game. It
is a little bit different, but, you know, that's what most of the kids are doing these days, is really texting in, and we've seen a lot of success with that in our marketing plan. So we got with iHigh, and it just made sense for us.
Sarah Sharp, thank you very much for Hibbett's being a part of the Great American Rivalry Series.
Thanks.
Thank you. Sarah Sharp with us here as we swap ends of the field. After the end of one stanza, thanks so much to Hibbett Sports, and of course also to the Marines for making this Great American Rivalry Series a possibility. And I see some T-shirts being tossed into the stands. Got a feeling that might be a T-shirt that says something about the Great American Rivalry Series. Well, away from the microphone for a moment. David, you had an opportunity to look at some of those first quarter stats.
Yeah, thing that stands out is Maryville with 114 rushing yards, Alcoa only 21. And Maryville 155 total yards, Alcoa with 25. 7 first downs to 1, also in Maryville's favor, as is the first quarter that's definitely dominated by the Maryville Rebels.
But the last couple of downs, or series of downs, have seen problems for Maryville, primarily created by their own miscues. And here again, you've got a punt return that would have put you at the 23, but penalty yardage has you back inside the 10.
That is, and that's how they started off the previous drive with 2 straight penalties. You know, they were able to overcome those and eventually pick up the first down. But, you know, instead of maybe being in position to go for it or maybe even try a field goal, the penalties put them behind the 8 ball the last drive, and they do again here.
Second 12-minute stanza of football underway, and Prevost very close to a first, gained about 9. on a first down carry.
And once again, he's hit near the line of scrimmage by number 91, Jonathan Decker, but they're just not able to get him to the ground, as that's been a familiar theme for the Alcoa defense so far in this first half, as that was an untimed down there for the penalty. So that was still the last play of the first quarter as they switched sides of the field. But the first quarter story for the Alcoa defense is their inability to get either Sean Prevost or John Garrett on the ground.
So the stats that you have that are for the first quarter are inaccurate. You got 9 more yards for Sean Prevost.
9 more for Sean Prevost, so that would add another 9 yards, so 164 yards for the Rebels there in the first quarter. And knowing my man Ken Main, who's able to provide these stats for us, that's aggravating him. He's got to go back and re-enter it in the computer and reprint that out. Ken is very meticulous, does a great job with the stats. And we appreciate him getting these stats to us.
Well, we were a little confused, too, because during the conversation after the penalty, they were on the opposite end of the field. So I think a lot of the discussion on the field was not necessarily the penalty. It's when did it occur, and do we play that down in the first quarter, or do we do it in the second?
Yeah, thought that maybe Alcoa, that's twice we thought we were going to the quarter. We thought Alcoa let the clock run out before they punted. Turns out it hadn't, so they had to punt at the end of the quarter. And then, as you said, on the punt, there's a penalty. So now we finally are going to the second quarter, and we're getting ready to start the second quarter. Maryville with a 2nd and 1.
By the way, about an hour after the game actually began. This one's going till midnight if we play every quarter like this. Garrett has the first down as he crosses the 23 to the 24-yard line.
Again, just Maryville running their read option play. Garrett does a great job of reading the defensive end and read that he should keep it, and he does for an easy first down for the Rebels.
If you are Maryville, you've got to like this tandem of Garrett and Prevost.
Yeah, it's 2 seniors. Prevost, again, 4-year starter. Garrett, a first-year starter, but very experienced. He is a first-year starter out here, but he's a 4-year starter on the basketball court. So he's been in some big games, played in the state tournament for the basketball Rebels.
Handoff goes to Prevost. Little misdirections got him to the 30. He ran into an Alcoa brick wall at the 34-yard line.
Yeah, Malik Love does a great job of just bringing the lumber there on the sideline for Alcoa. But again, same refrain. Looked like they had him on the perimeter, and Prevost able to slip the tackles. And you know, I told you he's got a chance to become the leading rusher in the history of Maryville. If he does, he'll break Carl Stewart's record, who played his football for Auburn as a running back at Auburn. And quite an accomplishment. And Carl was a much bigger back than Sean Prevost, but you know, after watching a lot of football in this county for a number of years and seeing obviously some great players and great teams between Maryville and Alcoa both, you know, Prevost is one of the best I've seen at just being able to break tackles without being just what you would call a bruising back. But he's got great balance, does a great job of getting through, as I said, the trash at the line of scrimmage where there's people on the ground, there's piles on the ground. He just gets through that without getting tripped up, able to keep his feet. And you know, as you've seen already this game, he's got a lot of yards after contact early on.
Where's Prevost going a year from now?
He is not committed anywhere yet. You know, from talking to some of his coaches, you know, he's being looked at by some of the smaller FCS type schools. But you know, with a big senior season, you know, maybe he'll be able to build on that. But as you can see, he's not a big back, but he does run a little bit bigger than what he looks.
Well, that Love shot at the 34 left Prevost about 2 inches shy of a first. It is 2nd down and very short for John Garrett. Hand off to Prevost. He won't get it. It will be 3rd and a little bit longer.
And one of the rare times where Alcoa was able to get a hold of him and bring him down in the backfield. Is great penetration there from the Tornadoes. Jonathan Decker in on the tackle along with Braylon Young.
Well, they gave him his forward progress, which was still 1.5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And I thought it was kind of a favorable spot. Looked like he'd lost more.
It did. And that's brings up another big 3rd down for the Tornado defense.
And off to the guy that gets quite a few first downs for you, and I think Prevost got it as he crosses the 35.
And Prevost that time does a good job of just getting his head down and diving for that first down instead of trying to make too much out of that play.
Change will move, 14-zip score, Maryville on top. 10.5 away from all the halftime festivities. 85th renewal of this big-time rivalry, the Battle of Pistol Creek. Pass is complete. That is Cody Carroll, who makes his way to near midfield. 13 of a gainer after the reception from his quarterback, John Garrett.
Garrett just with the sprint out, looking downfield, nobody there, so he hits his safety valve man, Cody Carroll. And that's something Coach Quarles picked up from Sevier County High School, actually. Steve Brewer, who is kind of like the Steve Spurrier here for East Tennessee football. Loves to throw it, has a great passing game. Coach Quarles picked that up from him. He always has somebody standing on the sideline as a safety valve.
First down, a yard away from enemy territory. Rebels with the football at their own 49-yard line. Hall again on some of that precision passing, stretching out, trying to make the grab as Carroll. It's incomplete.
Just overthrew him a little bit. John Riley McLaughlin on the coverage for Alcoa that time. As Maryville takes a shot downfield, hadn't done that much. They had the first early touchdown to Carroll where they hit him in the seam, but he just running wide open. First time they really tried to attack Alcoa downfield, as they've been able to pick up chunks of yardage via the ground or just intermediate passing game.
And off, that is Burgess. And he's inside Tornado territory, has the first and more. Well, you give it to Prevost, he picks up first down yardage. You give it to Burgess, and he busts one inside the 35.
And the same story there. Had a man, stayed home, played his assignment, but doesn't finish the play and get him on the ground. Should have been a 1-2 yard gain. Instead, Burgess does a nice job of imitating Prevost, breaking the tackle, and picking up a big gain and another first down for the Rebel offense.
First down and 10 at the 33. Wide open over the middle. Into the end zone, touchdown.
It's number 6, Kelby Brock for the Maryville Rebels. It's very similar to their first touchdown pass. When they run the read option look from the quarterback, he meshes with the back, pulls it, but this time instead of scrambling out, he immediately pulls up and hits Brock, running down the seam wide open. The Maryville running game has really hurt Alcoa, and has allowed them to set up some play action passes as Alcoa is having to bring some safeties up. Obviously, their linebackers are committed to the run, and off of the play action, they've got a wide open man running down the middle of the field.
Extra point. It is up, and apparently that is good as well. Yes, 21-zip the score, and John Garrett's played a big role. Scored a touchdown and thrown two. 21-zip Maryville. We've got 9 minutes, 40 seconds left in the half. This is the 10th anniversary of the Great American Rivalry Series presented by the United States Marines.
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
The Great American Rivalry Series. 48 classic matchups nationwide. The biggest moments under the brightest lights. Hardcore great American football the way it was meant to be. In the stands and on the field. Be a part of the action when the greatest show in high school sports comes to a town near you. The Great American Rivalry Series, presented by the United States Marines from I-High. Who's your rival?
There's no need to worry about how you're going to pay for college anymore. The I-Help loan program enables students to fill their needs when financing their education. If you need to borrow money for college, as most Americans do, SLFC and the I-Help loan program may be your best option. The loan features the most competitive rate available and is offered through your local ICBA bank with the help of SLFC, the student loan company thousands have trusted to help them pay for college. Go to slfc.com and explore all your options now.
Zip Maryville, 9:40 left to play in the first half. Live from Alcoa, Tennessee. This is the Great American Rivalry Series presented by the United States Marines and by Hibbett Sports. Well, it has been a tremendous rivalry over 84 previous years. Tonight, no exception. And despite the fact, David Ballman, that it's been a first half dominated by the team out of Maryville, Alcoa, if they hold here, score a touchdown, you're not right back into the ball game, but you're thinking there's a chance in the second half.
There is. They need to come and show a little more offensive, just show some consistency. At least they picked up a first down last drive, so they built off that. Now they need to piece a couple of first downs together. If they could come here and get a sustained drive and finish it in the end zone, take some time off the clock, let their defense rest, if they can keep Maryville from scoring again, they get the ball to start the second half. So have a chance to come out and maybe go in 21-7, get the ball, start the second half, regroup a little bit, and settle down your young defense a little bit. But they're going to have to do it with Jaquez Tyson. He's been the one positive they've had offensively. But the Maryville defensive front is making it tough for Alcoa early on.
Seems like every drive we're saying this is a crucial one. This is a crucial one for Alcoa.
It is.
If you're not going to score, you can't leave enough time on the clock for Maryville to score before the horn sounds to end the first half.
No, and they don't need much. I've seen them a lot over the last couple of years, and they can definitely be a quick strike offense.
9 minutes, 40 seconds left to play in half number one. It is a line drive squib kick that will go out of bounds. And, of course, draw the penalty flags.
So Alcoa's going to get some good field position, which they need to start this very important drive.
Well, Luke Oren was told to do the squib kick, but not out of bounds. Wanted to get a return out of it, but instead travels to the sidelines, allows the start from the 35-yard line.
Yeah, they don't want to kick it to Malik Love. He's a very dangerous kicker. They got it to him once, and he got it to the 40-yard line. So this time they're trying to keep it away from him, but end up kicking out of bounds. So Alcoa come out again with a two-back set with a fullback and a tailback beside quarterback Peyton Wall.
First down for Wall. Rolls, fires, and it bounced before it got its receiver.
Yeah, had a man just skipped it off the turf. They tried to pass the ball on first down to Nick Miller. Had him open again, just couldn't quite make the connection. And Alcoa again getting behind the chains early.
Nick Miller, the senior receiver. Well, if you could get a certain amount of yardage on first bounds, he grabbed it on one hop from Walls.
And now they're going to change formations. They bring in personnel to spread it out a little bit more. Bring Brendan Teeter in at tight end. Malik Love at wingback.
Love is the guy in motion. Wall to pass. Over to Love with the screen, and Love is driven down from behind.
Great job that time by number 81. That's Cody. No, I'm looking at Alcoa. I believe that's Bryce Miller.
It is.
For Maryville that stays home from his defensive end position, because Alcoa had it set up pretty well. If he doesn't make that tackle, Love is very elusive back with some blockers in front of him. Got a chance for a big play, but Miller stays home at defensive end and chases him down.
Now, I know your preference is to have more Jaquez Tyson, but when you're down by 21, can you do that?
Well, I think you need to, just to keep your defense off the field a little bit. They're playing a lot, and it's a hot, humid night, and they're already probably frustrated, not able to slow Maryville down much. And they come down, sit down, try to take a breath, and they look up, and they're heading back on the field. That's the thing that Jaquez allows you to do a little bit is rest, pick up a couple first downs, but it also keeps the clock going. Alcoa got the ball with 9-something on the clock, and we're looking up 3rd and 11. There's still 9-something on the clock. So Maryville gets a stop here, and they're getting the ball right back with plenty of time and a tired defense coming back on the field for Alcoa.
And don't forget, football fans, grab your phone and text MVP to 57758 to get a 10% off coupon For your next trip to Hibbett Sports, by texting, you'll be opted into the Hibbett Sports messaging service. You'll get a 10% off coupon right now. Plus, you'll be set to receive all our hottest deals by text. It is so easy. Don't forget to text MVP to 57758 now for your coupon. Hibbett Sport, game tested, athlete approved.
The other reason, Robert, I'd like to see him go to Jaquez is that's been their MO. I mean, they've been a power running team for the last couple of years, and they've really got away from that early on in this game.
Well, you don't have Jaquez in the backfield. You got Brody Hess, the junior, and now you got a timeout.
As the Alcoa coaching staff is fired up, as Coach Sweetland on the sideline is going to look for somebody. They come out of timeout and they don't have who they need in the ball game. They have to call a timeout. Coach Sweetland, the offensive coordinator for Alcoa, Coach Rankin, obviously very fired up. And I don't know if Coach Sweetland ever found who he was looking for. He came to the sideline, looked down for somebody, and headed right back out. So somebody not on the field for the Alcoa Tornadoes as they come out of a timeout and have to immediately call another one.
Does discombobulated ring any bells? Right now, looking a little addle on the sidelines for Alcoa.
They are, and they've been hitting the mouth a little bit and just haven't responded at all early on in this game.
A score would be a motivation, but you got a 3rd down and 11. And you've got a non-Tyson gentleman in the backfield. You've got Tyson actually split wide to the right side. So as a result, it doesn't tell you exactly what Alcoa is going to do, but if you're Maryville, you got an idea. Handoff is fake pass, complete. And able to squeeze through for the first down, John Riley McLaughlin.
Yeah, McLaughlin that time lined up at the tight end on the right side. Just ran a little drag across the field as they've not really been able to get him involved in the offense, but that time, due to the formation they do on the drag, and he does a great job of squirting through 2 defenders as he looked like he'd be stopped short of the first down, but squeezed through and picked up a very valuable first down for the Alcoa offense.
First down at 10, twofold, the intent, the significance of the pass reception and first down. It keeps the drive alive, and it keeps Maryville's offense off the field. Miller making the grab at the 43-yard line, trying to get to the sidelines, it appeared, but I don't know if he's trying to stop that clock.
No, I just think he's trying to get out of bounds. he went up high to make a catch and nicks the basketball player that's out here also masquerading on the football field, and I think he just wanted to get out of bounds. Good catch on first down, though. This is what Alcoa needs to do. They need to stay ahead of the chains. Brings up a 2nd and 2. Your playbook's wide open when it's 2nd and 2.
Wall with a handoff to Tyson. And he picks his way to a first down to the 42-yard line.
And that's what Jaquez does so well, is he runs downhill. Not a whole lot there, but he's able to get outside and put his shoulder down and pick up a first down.
8:16 left to play in the first half, 21-zip score. And again, the look at the Tyson run that got the first.
Just put his head down, and that's why I like him to get the ball. As Alcoa comes out again, they're going to run 2 backs beside Wall as another unique formation. Tyson's the back closest to him, Hess beside Tyson, and it's just going to be a quarterback rollout. Maryville strings out, and there's nothing there. They definitely weren't fooled on that play. And Wall, to be honest with you, didn't look real committed to running that play as he got the snap and kind of tiptoed out there and just gets pushed out of bounds pretty easily as the Rebels string it out and able to knock him out of bounds for a loss on first down. And again, we talked about it before. Here they are again, getting behind the chains.
2nd down 11, football inside the 45. There have not been many trips inside Rebel territory for the Tornadoes tonight.
No, this is their first time there, so they're going to probably in 4-down territory when you think about the situation of the game. As Tyson gets the ball off tackle, able to break a tackle, spin out.
Down to the 36-yard line goes Tyson, and then you got a flag tossed into the fray as well.
I think they're going to get a face mask on the play as he was spinning around, being brought to the ground, had a hold of his face mask, I believe, is what they're going to call. But there's why I like Jaquez Tyson. A little bit different runner from Sean Prevost, more of a power runner, but like Sean Prevost, does a good job at getting yards after contact. So you don't even have to block it great in order for him to pick it up, and I think that's what they got as we watched the replay with the hand on the face mask.
Deepest penetration of the ball game for the Tornadoes of Alcoa. They are inside the 25, down to the 23-yard line, where it is first down and 10. Well, you got to wonder if Maryville got a little comfortable with that 21-0 advantage.
They did, and this is the longest their defense been on the field, so, a little bit of tiredness coming into play for them.
Wall with the keeper. He is met from behind, able to shed himself of a rebel, and makes his way back to the line of scrimmage and got something out of nothing. Looked like he was going to be dropped 2 yards deep and actually picked up a yard or two.
Yeah, great job by Wall of keeping the play alive and just not been able to get much whenever they've called his number on a called running play from the quarterback position.
Second down, we'll call it 9.
And Wall comes to the sideline now, and sophomore Mitchell McClurg comes into the game to play quarterback. Very promising sophomore, but his first serious game action of the year early in the game against the Maryville Rebels.
Well, a penalty flag before Mitchell McClurg can see some sophomore action in this big-time rivalry series.
That's coming from the back judge, so that's probably a delay of game penalty. Yeah, that's what they call, as it's just slow getting on the field at the change of quarterbacks. Not sure if Wall was injured or they just wanted to go with a different look. But interesting that the move is made here in the middle of a drive. As you said, the deepest drive Alcoa's had, and after first down play that Wall tried to make something out of nothing. He comes to the sideline, and McClurg comes in the game and just a little late getting out there, and they get the penalty.
5-yard mark off. Second down, 14. Give goes to Tyson. Ouch. Tyson is hammered at the line of scrimmage.
And that's number 66 for the Rebels. Defensive lineman Brant Sloan with a big hit from Jaquez Tyson.
Well, I see a cadet with the United States Marine Corps about to make some fans happy in the stands, tossing some Great American Rivalry T-shirts. These Marines, though, don't have to have those guns. They've got the natural guns.
They've got the arms to get it up there. Tyson limps off the field for Alcoa. So not what you want to see is Tyson limping off. So you've got the starting quarterback, starting tailback over here on the sideline for this big drive. They've got another delay of game penalty.
Well, is it a direct result of the new personnel on the field for Alcoa?
Well, just a lot of switching up going on. The quarterback is coming to the sideline to get the play call each time. So McClurg is going to come out. Looks like Wall's going to come back in. So it may be. The coaches may feel it is a switch. It's just interesting that they make that switch there in the middle of the game, middle of a drive with your senior quarterback and leading the drive. As Tyson comes back on the field, still limping, but he's at least back out there.
After the 5-yard mark off, it is now third down and 20. Alcoa, a drive that looked promising, got inside the 25-yard line. Now Wall pushed back, tosses over in the direction of Tyson. Tyson didn't know the pigskin was coming.
Now Wall with some pressure from the Maryville defensive front, had to get rid of it quickly, and Tyson yet to turn his head around. As Ethan Dudley, for the second time tonight, does a good job in coverage of Jaquez Tyson as he comes out of the backfield. And Alcoa with not much choice but to go for it right here with 4th and 19. This is way out of the range of their kicker.
You have got to pick up some big-time yardage if you're going to get the first. Got to get inside the 13.
And McLaughlin and Teeter both in the game. And now just another mix-up of personnel for Alcoa.
Tyson in motion. Wall buying some time with a rollout, fires towards the end zone, and the incomplete pass will give it back to Maryville with plenty of time left in the first half.
Yeah, look for John Riley McLaughlin in the end zone. Looked like a little contact. McLaughlin turned around looking for the call, but the referees don't agree, and that's all that matters. As 4th down, turns the ball over. Alcoa, again, just looked discombobulated. They got it to the 20-yard line almost and then went backwards. Just some substitutions that led to some penalties. Just then, that last play, they had somebody break the huddle, get to the line of scrimmage, and realize they had 12 and the wrong guy on the field. He comes running off the field. So just not characteristic of an Alcoa coach team, and knowing Coach Rankin the way I do, it's going to be a very spirited halftime talk, I would say.
Time did run off the clock, but not enough time possibly. Still 6 minutes to go in the first half. 21-zip, Maryville with the lead. Time for Burgess and company. The helmet of Burgess pops off as he is dropped behind the line of scrimmage, and that defense for Alcoa, which has had its longest break of the football game, playing some spirited football.
Yeah, come up a little fired up as junior Jake Warwick, first-year starter, comes up and makes a nice stop on Burgess. One of the best tackles we've seen from Alcoa, is able to get the back on the ground with first contact.
Clock running inside 5:50. And now the official stops play. And it may be a Maryville timeout. Let's see, it is. Charged to the Rebels. So with 5 minutes, 44 seconds left to play in the first half. 21-zip, Maryville's got the lead. We are back in a moment from Alcoa. This is the Great American Rivalry Series, presented by the United States Marines.
The Great American Rivalry Series. 48 classic matchups nationwide. The biggest moments under the brightest lights. Hardcore great American football the way it was meant to be. In the stands and on the fields. Be a part of the action when the greatest show in high school sports comes to a town near you. The Great American Rivalry Series. Presented by the United States Marines. From I-High. Who's your rival?
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
Five minutes, 44 seconds left to play in the first half, live from Alcoa, Tennessee. This is the Great American Rivalry Series. It's presented by the United States Marines and Hibbett Sports. 21-zip Maryville. They scored a couple of touchdowns before you could cough and say hello.
Yeah, before some people still got in the stadium, as they have to walk a long ways to park here. And before you blink, Maryville's up 14-0. Slowed down, the pace will slow down a little bit, but the Maryville defense has remained strong, as Alcoa just not able to get anything going. Finally got a drive into Rebel territory in this last possession, but after getting to the almost 20-yard line, they went backwards from there.
And if you look at the two drives that went backwards for Maryville, they were initiated by penalties, as the fake is to Prevost. Garrett, last minute toss over to Carroll. To midfield. Inside tornado territory. Looked like a busted play. Looked like Garrett was about to get slammed, and all of a sudden, he's got it into the hands of one of his favorite targets, Cody Carroll.
And there you see the beauty of John Garrett. There are more athletic players. They're quarterbacks with better arms. They're quarterbacks that are much faster. But he just makes something out of nothing right there, as he stopped dead to rights in the backfield and just hangs on until Carroll slips away from him and just kind of jumps and lobs it over the defense's head for a big pickup for the Rebels.
First down and 10, inside tornado territory again to Carroll. Was Carroll able to hang on, or was it picked off? It was picked off.
McLaughlin with a great play is able to take it from Carroll.
They were just rallying and volleying and battling for the football, and John Riley McLaughlin, well, he's done a little more arm wrestling in his career, apparently, was able to take it away from Carroll and get the INT.
Yeah, and that's the play that the Tornadoes needed, the first turnover of the ball game. And we'll see if it's able to spark this Alcoa offense here with 5:26 to go in the first half. They'd love nothing more than to finish this half with a touchdown drive as the horn expires, go into halftime, regroup a little bit.
5:26 left to play in the half. coughed up. Hard to credit Garrett with an INT, but that's what it will look like in the stat book.
It will. That's just a matter of McLaughlin taking the ball from Carroll.
Wall on the quarterback keeper, up the middle. Well, he's not the jitterbug that Garrett is, but picks up positive yardage in the thick of things.
Yeah, and he's got the capability to be a big runner for Alcoa offense as he's a big-bodied quarterback and surprisingly fast. He hadn't shown it yet because he's never really got going yet. And maybe that's why they made the switch with McClurg for a few plays and maybe try to light a fire under him. As he kind of shot through the line a little quicker than we've seen him so far in the game on any of the called quarterback runs.
Nothing more motivational than a couple of plays on the sidelines. Wall with a toss over to Tyson. He's close and does indeed have the first as he makes his way to midfield.
That's another formation for Alcoa. 2 tight ends, 3 flankers to the left side is another way to get Tyson the ball. Just trying to long handoff actually is what that is. Just a little flare route as he lines up as a wing back and get the ball to him in space, able to pick up another first down.
Well, the previous drive, Alcoa was able to pick up some positive yardage, but it stalled near the red zone. This one has the Tornadoes at midfield. He puts one up for grabs, picked off, but I think
out of bounds.
The DB was out of bounds, Paul Bristol. Well, that would be an ill-advised pass from Wall, but he's thinking, if I eat it here, I've lost 15.
Yeah, the left-handed quarterback rolling to his right, and he just tries to stop and throw it off his back foot and just couldn't quite get enough on it. Maryville does a good job of staying home as they tried to bring a tight end across the formation, and Bristol stays home and almost comes up with a big play for Maryville to get the ball back. But fortunately for the Tornadoes, he ran out of bounds.
Wall, I'm not sure if it was a quarterback delay by design, but it turned into one. Now you got helmets ripped off, guys on the turf, and I thought I saw a yellow hanky tossed into the fray as well.
There is a flag on the far side. Not sure if it's from the little fracas we saw there with the helmets coming off, as Enric Harvey has to leave the field for losing his helmet. New rule in high school that if your helmet comes off, you've got to come out. Actually started last year for safety reasons, of course. Had some players not quite buckling up their chin straps the way they should.
We'll send it down to the sidelines where Tim Campbell's got a guest.
4 minutes left. 4 minutes left. Can you hear him talk to you?
Well, apparently we've got a technical issue down on the sidelines.
I just want to make sure you can hear.
Well, I think that wasn't a hello sign, by the way. Hi, how you doing? Down on the sidelines, Tim Campbell is there as the toss goes to Tyson, and Tyson wants to toss to a wide open Miller in the 20, 10, down to the 5-yard line goes Miller on the flea flicker.
Yeah, great play from the Tornadoes that time as they ran the toss sweep to Tyson and shows some of his versatility there as he picked it up and threw a beautiful pass on the run to Nick Miller, streaking wide open down the sideline. Big play that the Tornadoes needed to get inside the goal line. Look for their goal line package to come in. As you see, just hits Miller in stride there. You don't see running backs make that pass on the money like that in stride as they bring in their Rhino package, stacked I formation.
First down and goal from the 3. Tyson trying to bounce his way in.
And there's more helmets flying on the ground. As another Tornado, this time Blake Holder is going to have to come off the field as his helmet goes flying off. So, power formation. Zach Wright, the defensive end, is in at the fullback. The middle fullback is Brody Hess. The normal fullback is lined up right behind the quarterback. Then you got Zach Wright, and Tyson stacked on top of him.
Football lost. Wall's got a fall on it at the 6-yard line. Wise play by Wall, though. If you try to pick the thing up and get something positive, something negative could happen.
Yeah, just very uncharacteristic half from the Alcoa Tornadoes. Just a lot of substitution miscues. You know, the lost snap right here on the goal line. Just not what you expect from a Gary Rankin coach football team. Is Tyson coming off the field limping considerably. Even limped pretty good on the pass play that he made.
Of course, you got to wonder if that limp might be created by some dehydration. It is early in the season. Cramps probably a problem. It's a warm night here in Tennessee.
And everybody runs but the center.
And there's a fumble.
I'm not sure if that can be a fumble if the ball's never snapped, was it? I have to watch the replay there, but I didn't see if the ball ever made it back or what happened.
Well, I saw that piece of plastic fly in from the official that indicated he needed to mark the spot where the football was, so it apparently was out for a moment.
As they show freshman Matt Young's the one that recovered the ball for. He just kind of not sure what happened there. But he started to roll the football, and freshman Matt Young alertly falls on it for the Maryville Rebels. I guess if the center starts to move it, that's a snap. Don't think he meant to, but needless to say, he moved the ball.
And the most promising drive of the night for Alcoa stalls out after the fumble. And Maryville trying to run out the clock in the first half.
Yes, most definitely be content to go to the half with a 21-0 lead in this big rivalry game. You know, this is a time where, you know, you run it to Prevost, and if he happens to break one, then maybe you speed things up a little bit. But inside your 20, you know, it's safe to get it in the hand of your senior running back.
Inside a couple of minutes to play in the half.
Harry breaks one a little bit before he's finally knocked out of bounds, so they'll pick up the first down and stop the clock as Prevost gets close to the 20-yard line.
I don't know that Prevost wanted to go out of bounds, but he was just kind of shoved out.
Kind of thrown out as he spun around.
Trying to stay in bounds as we take a look at the replay. Gave a stiff arm, and he was just told to get out of bounds.
Yeah, but he is able to pick up the first down. And probably see a few more carries here for the half ends. And again, if he's able to break one, you know, maybe Coach Quarles changed his philosophy at the end of the half.
Garrett cuts it back up the middle. Shut down quickly. Looked like there was a bigger gap than there actually was.
Yeah, and that time Alcoa does a great job staying home on the weak side, and they're able to drop Garrett, who's been very elusive for the Tornado defense, drop him for a minimal gain. As the first down, Coach Quarles decided, let's try to air it out a little bit. The Alcoa defense shuts it down.
Handoff goes to Prevost. Spins, turns up the middle. He crosses the 25 to the 27.
Brought down by Braylon Young. And Maryville will call a timeout, surprisingly. So it looks like they do want to put some points on the board before the half ends.
So with a timeout, third down and a couple coming up, and we're going to send it down to the sidelines on the Great American Rivalries.
This is David Fatzinger reporting live for the Great American Rivalry Series broadcast. Stay tuned after the game as we present the Great American Rivalry Series Championship Trophy and Game MVP presented by the United States Marines.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, it doesn't end with a football game. It continues after the fact as you got trophies to hand out. Big rivalry, and when you're in one of these big-time rivals, well, you got to have something to remember it by.
You do, and Maryville, what I remember from this first half is just a lack of execution from the Alcoa offense. As I said, just a lot of very uncharacteristic mistakes. You know, missed substitutions, players not on the field when they're supposed to be, delayed game penalties. You know, a lot of uncharacteristic things from a Gary Rankin coach team, and just very undisciplined the way they look tonight. And you know, their youth may be showing a little bit. Now, they're talented youth, and the coaches are high on some of these young players, but I think some of that youth is showing a little bit with some of the mistakes they've made in this big rivalry game.
Well, a lot of games across the state of Tennessee might be near its end here at about 9:30 in the Eastern time zone, but we're not at the half.
No, we're just now to the half, and as you said, the middle school game set us back, and one of the longest first quarters I can remember being a part of really put us behind as well.
Third down and a couple. This play will decide whether Maryville tries to poke it in for some points. And it looks like they're trying to draw Alcoa off sides and get the 5 without having to snap the football. Up the middle. And Garrett won't get anything.
And the best job the Alcoa defense has done is playing the read option plays. That time Garrett kept it again, and Alcoa stayed home able to drop him. But it looked like Ryan Clark and that's 27, Jake Warwick, in on the tackle for the Tornadoes. So a big stop from Alcoa, and I think they'll use their last timeout and get one more shot at the end zone with 50 seconds to go.
Well, heck, you got one. Might as well use it.
You
50
do.
seconds to play.
And you've got a very dangerous punt returner back deep in Malik Love.
21-zip Maryville. This is the 10th anniversary of the Great American Rivalry Series. It's presented by the United States Marines.
The Great American Rivalry Series. 48 classic matchups nationwide. The biggest moments under the brightest lights. Hardcore great American football the way it was meant to be. In the stands and on the field. Be a part of the action when the greatest show in high school sports comes to a town near you. The Great American Rivalry Series. Presented by the United States Marines. From Eye High. Who's your rival?
21-zip Maryville, 50 seconds left to play in the half. Live from Alcoa, Tennessee. This is the Great American Rivalry Series presented by the United States Marines and Hibbett Sports off to Pennsylvania tonight for us as we get ready for Aliquippa and Ambridge tomorrow night. 4th down and 1. Punting situation, and Alcoa looking for an opportunity to get a return. Love making the grab, fakes the reverse. Well, he noticed there was one gentleman from Maryville to elude, but didn't realize there was another young fella nearby. And boy, he just ripped the hat off of Love.
Yes. First of all, they faked the reverse. Number 24, Chancellor Coast, does a great job of staying home for the Rebels, slowing Love down. But as you said, Drew Curtis comes from behind and just kind of body slams Malik Love to the turf. And Love got up with his helmet off and didn't like the way he was treated at the end of that play.
33 seconds left in the half, 70-plus yards to hit pay dirt. Well, this is an Alcoa squad, though, that's got a little something to be cheerful about going into the locker room of the half, and that's the last 2 drives. Both drives going deep inside Rebel territory. One stalls out just shy of the red zone. The other gets inside the 5. Handoff to Tyson. He'll be pounded. That should be it for the half, but we'll wait and see. We've thought quarters ended previously and didn't get the thing wrapped up, so let's make sure we've closed out the first half of action.
Alcoa tried to run a draw there and looked like the whole Maryville defensive line was waiting for Tyson, as they weren't fooled at all. And the Rebel defensive front has had a great first half, is going to finish it the way they started with the stuff of the Tornadoes and just kind of dominated this first half, and they show that again here early on at the end of the second half, of the first half.
We take a look at some of the history of this series when we come back. It is halftime, 21-zip. Maryville's got the lead. This is the 10th anniversary of the Great American Rivalry Series presented by the United States Marines.
There are a few who move toward the sounds of chaos. Forged in the crucible of training, they are the first to move toward the sounds of tyranny, injustice, and despair. They are the few, the proud, the Marines.
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
Welcome to the biggest games in high school football, the Great American Rivalry Series. 46 matchups, each one a classic. These are the nights you'll always remember. This is football, the way it was meant to be. In the stands and in the trenches, the Rivalry Series is the real thing. Don't miss out when the greatest show in high school sports comes to town. Go to GreatAmericanRivalry.com. The Great American Rivalry Series from iHigh.
The Great American Rivalry Series. 48 classic matchups nationwide. The biggest moments under the brightest lights. Hardcore great American football the way it was meant to be. In the stands and on the field. Be a part of the action when the greatest show in high school sports comes to a town near you. The Great American Rivalry Series. Presented by the United States Marines. From iHigh. Who's your rival?
This is David Ballman back for the Great American Rivalry Series. We're at halftime here, and I'm pleased to be joined by Todd Upton, legendary Alcoa High School Tornado. Went on to be a member of the University of Tennessee football team. Played for Coach Former as our offensive line coach then,
yes,
wasn't he?
Yes, sir.
And got drafted in the NFL before knee injury kind of derailed your career. Todd is a Hall of Fame member tonight who we recognize. We showed a pregame. And Todd, we appreciate you being here. You had a chance to address the Alcoa High School football team today, and talking to some coaches, they just loved what you had to say, what you had to share. Just tell us a little bit about what you shared and just what Alcoa High School means to you.
Well, I told the guys, I said, this is one of those times where you will remember this game for the rest of your life. We still talk about the Alcoa-Maryville rivalry. That was 30-something years ago for me, almost 40 years. And I told them, I said, guys, you do your best, leave everything out on the field, because I would hate to go through the rest of my life wondering, what if I'd have ran a little bit faster, if I'd have jumped a little bit higher, extended myself a little bit further, could I have changed the game? Yeah,
as a former Alcoa alum myself, not the first half we wanted to see.
Exactly.
But thankfully they've still got another half to pull things together, get things together. They're going to get the ball here to start. And, great words from you. I've also, Todd's mother, Geraldine, was a longtime guidance counselor here, and I had the pleasure of getting to know her, and she was my guidance counselor. And you say she's doing well still here in Louisville, Tennessee, and she's another stalwart in the Alcoa community and another just important piece in the history of Alcoa High School, and just what makes Alcoa such a special place and a special community.
Yes, sir, it is. The teachers and the faculty at Alcoa, it's a family. I saw Mr. Stevens when I was here, and when I've seen teachers when I come back, Mr. Cobb, Mr. Campbell. I had to shake their hand, because a very large part of what I learned in life, I learned part of the football field, but part of the classroom. And it's kind of like you can't have one without the other. So the old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. This is a village.
Oh, definitely. And you mentioned that, and a lot of people are familiar with, especially in the Alcoa community in East Tennessee, with Randall Cobb from the Green Bay Packers. And I heard him use that exact phrase this summer. As he came back to the community, engaged with the community with a free football camp, and he used that same phrase, it takes a village to raise you. And he felt like that's what he had gotten, that's what he experienced in Alcoa. And that's just one of the great things about Alcoa High School, one of the great things about this community. But Todd, we appreciate you coming back, appreciate you being a part of this broadcast, and just thank you for all you've meant to the Alcoa community, the way you continue to represent us, and appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Great to see you.
Thank you.
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
Students, wanting to go to college?
Parents, wanting to send your high school student to college? Know how you're going to pay for it?
Give us 2 minutes and we'll tell you everything you need to know.
There's no need to worry about how you're going to pay for college anymore. We'll show you exactly how to find grants, scholarships, and if you need it, a loan with the best terms available.
SLFC is here to help.
The Student Loan Finance Corporation works closely with students, as well as their lenders and schools, to alleviate education loan headaches. SLFC specializes in helping students with and servicing alternative loans that feed hungry minds nationwide. SLFC has now introduced a new loan program through member banks of the ICBA, the Independent Community Bankers Association. The iHelp loan program enables students to fill their needs when financing their education. We ensure that anyone who wants to pursue post-secondary education has access to timely, adequate financing and experienced helpers.
Through the iHelp loan program, students are offered loans with low interest rates and no teaser rates.
The program provides private student loans designed to supplement but not replace scholarships, grants, and other financial aid options, including federal student loans currently offered on college campuses.
Not sure where to start? SLFC has designed a website with tons of resources for helping you plan for and fund an education, whether you're in college now or plan on attending college soon. Let's break it down. First, the Planning for College section. This provides you with a timeline to guide you through several of the steps you need to know about when applying to schools. The Paying for College section will help you navigate your way through the financial aid process, making it easier for you to take advantage of all the options available to you.
For example, did you know there are hundreds of scholarships available, and many are actively looking for students? You don't have to be valedictorian to earn these scholarships. We have the details online.
The toolkit helps you choose a college and career based on your interests and needs and features our exclusive trend tracker that matches you with colleges based on a variety of criteria.
Imagine, all in one place, the costs of each college, the average test scores, and dozens of other features, all in one graphic map. And finally, if you need to borrow money for college, as most Americans do, SLFC and the iHelp loan program may be your best option. The loan features the most competitive rate available and is offered through your local ICBA bank with the help of SLFC, the student loan company thousands have trusted to help them pay for college.
Go to slfc.com and explore all of your options now.
On a crisp fall night, across sweat-stained fields of green, for over a century, these battles for bragging rights have raged across the nation. Tradition, camaraderie, and a desire for victory like no other create a passion among these gladiators of the gridiron, where outcomes become not just victories, but legend. These games are the Great American Rivalry Series.
Oh, it's a huge rivalry. This game is actually both sides start talking trash to each other, and then even after the game is over with, it's talked about all year long, just like it was last year. Both these schools are very competitive schools. You know, both are state champions.
Well, it's as big as it gets around here. You know, both communities obviously take football pretty seriously. It's a lot of bragging rights. It's intense. You know, I'm just glad to be a part of it.
It is halftime. 21-zip. Maryville's got the lead over Alcoa. Live from Alcoa, Tennessee. This is the Great American Rivalry Series. It's presented by the United States Marines and Hibbett Sports. David Ballman, you take away the first 5 minutes of the ball game in which you got 2 Maryville scores. You got a pretty tight game, but you got to stick those 5 minutes in. And here at the half, 21-zip Maryville.
Exactly. Maryville jumped out very quick and early with 2 quick scores before many people get settled in their seats. You know, since then, Alcoa settled down a little bit offensively and defensively, able to limit what the Rebels have done, able to get some penetration. They got to the 21 time before they went backwards, got inside the 5 before they ended up fumbling the ball. And, you know, could very well be a different story if they're able to punch either one of those in. And 21-7 getting the ball start to have it. As it stands, we're 21-0, and the Rebels able to hold up their quick start.
Last couple of drives for Alcoa in the first half. Kind of even the stats up, but you've got that balanced look at what happened in the first half.
I do. The rushing, Maryville 25 rushes for 175 yards. Alcoa 18 rushes for 30 yards. Maryville's 5 of 7 passing for 120 yards. And the one interception, although the stats here have ruled out a fumble. I think John Garrett would be glad to hear that. And Peyton Wall is 7 of 13, 74 yards passing for the Tornadoes. 13 first downs for Maryville, only 6 for Alcoa. Individually, Sean Prevost, 13 carries for 82 yards, 6.3 yard average. John Garrett, 8 carries for 48 yards and a touchdown, a 6-yard average. And Jalen Burgess, 4 carries for 45 yards, 11.3 yard average. So all three players who've carried the ball for the Rebels have picked up over 6 yards to carry. As I said, Garrett's 5 of 7 for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. On the receiving end, Cody Carroll, 4 receptions for 87 yards and a touchdown. Kelby Brock, 1 reception for 33 yards and a touchdown. For Alcoa individually, Jaquez Tyson, 10 carries, 30 yards, 3.0 average per carry, long of 8. Passing, Peyton Wall, 6 of 12 for 31 yards. Jaquez Tyson, the leading rusher and leading passer for the Tornadoes. He's 1 for 1 with 43 yards on the play that allowed them to get inside the 5-yard line. Recap the scoring quickly. Maryville got the ball first. Went on a 3-play, 68-yard drive. 41-yard pass from John Garrett to Cody Carroll. Luca Warren's kick capped it off. 56 seconds was that time of possession on that drive. Maryville led 7-0. Very next possession, Maryville got the ball. This time they go on a 7-play, 73-yard drive that took 2 minutes, 14 seconds off the clock. It's capped by a John Garrett touchdown run from 7 yards out. Warren's kick is once again good, makes the score 14-0. And then early in the second quarter, Maryville with a 9-play, 80-yard drive that took 2 minutes, 19 seconds off the clock. This time it's capped off by a 33-yard pass from John Garrett to Kelby Brock. Warren's kick is once again good, and there's your halftime score. Maryville 21, Alcoa 0.
Well, you played 85 times, so there's definitely some history in the rivalry. When we come back, a look at some of that history. We're at the half in the 10th anniversary of the Great American Rivalry Series presented by the United States Marines.
The Great American Rivalry Series. 48 classic matchups nationwide. The biggest moments under the brightest lights. Hardcore great American football the way it was meant to be. In the stands and on the fields. Be a part of the action when the greatest show in high school sports comes to a town near you. The Great American Rivalry Series. Presented by the United States Marines. From I-High. Who's your rival?
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
It is halftime, 21-zip. Maryville's got the lead. A very special guest with us, a member of the United States Marine Corps, Staff Sergeant Sorrell, who is from Alabama. I'm an Alabama boy as well, so good to have you, especially good to have you in the box tonight.
Thank you, sir. Glad to be here.
You don't have to be around this rivalry very long to realize it's very heated. 85 times these two teams have met, and it's another tight one tonight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it's great to be out here with the students and with the two teams, sir.
Your job here on campus. Now, you are actually located on the Alcoa campus?
Not on the Alcoa campus, sir, but in the city of Alcoa, sir, as a recruiter.
And what does recruiting entail?
Well, just finding them highly qualified young men and women to join the armed forces, especially the Marines, and enlist into the Marine Corps, sir.
Can you tell us about some of your military past, or is that top secret stuff we don't need to be talking about?
Well, I've been in the Marine Corps for 13 years. Did a lot of teamwork, and that's why we like to be out here with the young football players and football teams because they use teamwork, and without teamwork, nothing's successful, sir.
Well, I do want to take the opportunity to say thank you very much for what you've done for the country and what you do for this community as well, recruiting for the United States Marines.
Thank you, sir, and thanks for having us tonight.
Thank you. Staff Sergeant Sorrell with us. here
Yes,
at the
sir.
half of a big-time rivalry between Alcoa and Maryville. We're back in a moment. It's the 10th anniversary of the Great American Rivalry Series, and it's brought to you by guys like this, the United States Marines.
There are a few who move toward the sounds of chaos. Forged in the crucible of training, they are the first to move toward the sounds of tyranny, injustice, and despair. They are the few, the proud, the Marines.
There's no need to worry about how you're going to pay for college anymore. The iHelp loan program enables students to fill their needs when financing their education. If you need to borrow money for college, as most Americans do, SLFC and the iHelp loan program may be your best option. The loan features the most competitive rate available and is offered through your local ICBA bank with the help of SLFC, the student loan company thousands have trusted to help them pay for college. Go to slfc.com and explore all your options now.
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
The big series continuing, the 85th time these two teams have met. 1927 was the first encounter between the two, and each meeting kind of adds to the rivalry. Tonight, no exception. Let's talk about the ability to get back into the ball game. Can Alcoa do it down by 3 touchdowns?
They can, but they're going to have to come out and score early. I know we've been saying it for a long time, it seems like, the last couple of drives, but I think this first drive is going to show maybe what adjustments they've made. I think more importantly, maybe what kind of mindset they're coming out of with from the halftime. Are they coming out, still ready to fight, or are they come out beat already? This will be an important drive, I think, early on. And they've done a better job of slowing Maryville down. As you said, they scored 14 points before they could blink, and then scored 7 the rest of the half. So the defense has settled in a little bit, and the offense got some things going, just weren't able to finish some drives. So they've shown the ability to do some of the things they need to do to get back in the game, but it's just a matter of finishing things off.
Well, we will see if they can finish things off and get back into this one, or if Maryville is going to continue to dominate the series. I mean, they do have, 57 wins coming into this one as far as series victories, and they're shooting for number 58, but you got this Alcoa squad trying to get a little closer to that 30th victory in the series. We'll see what happens when we come back. We're going to take one more break and then be back for third quarter action as you see the warm-ups and the individuals getting ready for second half play. So why don't we take that break on the 10th anniversary of the Great American Rivalry Series, which is brought to you by the United States Marines.
Welcome to the biggest games in high school football, the Great American Rivalry Series. 46 matchups, each one a classic. These are the nights you'll always remember. This is football, the way it was meant to be. In the stands and in the trenches, the Rivalry Series is the real thing. Don't miss out when the greatest show in high school sports comes to town. Go to GreatAmericanRivalry.com. The Great American Rivalry Series from iHigh.
On On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
There's no need to worry about how you're going to pay for college anymore. The iHelp Loan Program enables students to fill their needs when financing their education. If you need to borrow money for college, as most Americans do, SLFC and the iHelp Loan Program may be your best option. The loan features the most competitive rate available and is offered through your local ICBA bank with the help of SLFC, the student loan company thousands have trusted to help them pay for college. Go to slfc.com and explore all your options now.
There are a few who move toward the sounds of chaos. Forged in the crucible of training, they are the first to move toward the sounds of tyranny, injustice, and despair. They are the few, the proud, the Marines.
Welcome to the biggest games in high school football, the Great American Rivalry Series. 46 matchups, each one a classic. These are the nights you'll always remember. This is football, the way it was meant to be. In the stands and in the trenches, the Rivalry Series is the real thing. Don't miss out when the greatest show in high school sports comes to town. Go to GreatAmericanRivalry.com. The Great American Rivalry Series from iHigh.
There's no need to worry about how you're going to pay for college anymore. The iHelp Loan Program enables students to fill their needs when financing their education. If you need to borrow money for college, as most Americans do, SLFC and the iHelp Loan Program may be your best option. The loan features the most competitive rate available and is offered through your local ICBA bank with the help of SLFC, the student loan company thousands have trusted to help them pay for college. Go to slfc.com and explore all your options now.
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
21-zip, your halftime score. We are live from Alcoa, Tennessee. This is the Great American Rivalry Series presented by the United States Marines and Hibbett Sports. 21-zip, Maryville with the advantage. Just checked weather, by the way, David Ballman. It says it's 79 degrees.
It's not in this press box.
No,
I
it
promise
is not
you that.
79.
It may be
here.
79 somewhere in it's been in the shade for a while, but it's definitely not 79 up here.
I'm thinking if you flip the numbers, 97 might be a little closer.
It feels more like it.
But it is a warm night in Tennessee, and you got the heated rivalry resumed for the 85th time. Maryville with a 21-0 advantage. And again, you hate to belabor the point, but if you take the first 5 minutes of the ball game away, you've got a one-touchdown game. Alcoa's had their opportunities, just hasn't been able to convert. They got inside the 25-yard line on the drive just prior to the last drive of the half. Then on the last drive of the half for Alcoa, they get inside the 5-yard line. Yeah. So they've had their opportunities. They just have not been able to convert. They got to do it in the final 24 minutes of this one.
No, and their problem not converting has been self-inflicted wounds. They've had penalties and fumbles that have hurt them.
The kick, and this one is underway. Second half action. As it drifts to the sidelines, out of play, and the penalty flags will come out and put the ball out at the 35-yard line.
And a smart play there by John Riley McLaughlin as he shows why he's the Alcoa Scholar athlete. Instead of picking that ball up close to the sideline at about the 10-yard line, he lets it go out of bounds, and Alcoa is able to start their possession from the 35.
Let's go back to that down, that series of downs that got Alcoa back or inside Rebel territory to the 23-yard line, and then they put in the backup quarterback for 2 or 3 plays. Things seem to come unraveled, not because he's in, but maybe that inexperience, a different cadence as the handoff goes to Tyson. And Tyson picks up a couple. What's up? I mean, what happened?
Not quite sure. You know, that's a little bit of a mystery for us. You know, one thing, you know, first time they got 2 back-to-back delay of game penalties, and you've got to think that's from the inexperience. You know, not quite sure of the play call, not quite confident in the play call, getting to the line of scrimmage quick enough. But I'll be interested to talk to some of the coaches this week and see maybe what the thinking was behind that. If maybe Wall was injured, maybe he'd done something that they weren't happy with. I'm not sure. But it's obviously a setback for the Tornado offense on what was a promising drive.
Gain of 3 by Tyson. Pitch back goes to Tyson, limping noticeably as he finds the hole and gets close to a first down. It will depend on the spot.
And a good job of blocking out on the edge that time by sophomore tight end Ryan Clark as he's going one-on-one against Division I prospect Dylan Jackson. Clark's able to do a good job of holding him off and pushing him out and allowing Tyson to cut back underneath for the first down.
So the chains move, a very crucial drive. Seems like every drive lately we've labeled as crucial, but this one very important for Alcoa, trying to get back into the ball game and get rid of that goose egg. Wall, and a pickup of 5 yards.
For the first time we've called Brody Hess's name as a runner, as he lines up as a lone back in the backfield and gets on a quick little dive up the middle. And again, Alcoa staying ahead of the chains. Nice pickup on first down on a little trap up the middle.
Hess picking up 5, about half of the yardage needed to pick up the first. Second down 5. Football lies at midfield. Well, you were an advocate in the early part of the ball game to be doing this in the outset, running the football.
Yeah, this has been Alcoa's bread and butter for a number of years, and as I said, Jaquez is probably the most experienced offensive weapon they've got back, and had a good game last year against Maryville, as I believe he rushed for 2 touchdowns. Not quite sure of his yardage numbers. He was splitting carries with 2 other backs, but you know, was very effective last year in much hotter conditions. That game was played in the middle of the afternoon on a Sunday afternoon on turf field. I remember hearing some players say that they had one guy's cleats melt a little bit on the bottom from the heat coming off the turf field.
Gain of a yard by Wall on the previous play brings up a 3rd down and 3. Tornadoes trying to get inside the 45. Give goes to Tyson, and Tyson popped to the line of scrimmage, loses a yard. 4th and probably too many to go for it on 4th down coming up.
And there's why Dylan Jackson is being recruited by Tennessee and Clemson, as they ran right at him. And he does a great job of just fighting off the block you see and getting off and bringing Tyson down. Just an outstanding play by the young man Dylan Jackson on that play for the Maryville Rebels. And Wall's going to come out to punt.
Is this a situation, though, where you give Walls the option?
Yeah, this may be an opportunity. You've got John Riley McLaughlin, one of his favorite receivers, here in the slot. So I wouldn't put it past them right here because they've got to get something going.
Wall with the rollout. Now the pass. It is caught, but not enough for the first.
No, they tried to hit Malik Love. No, that's Woody. Caleb Woody out wide, and he is dropped as he didn't get near the sticks. You know, you'd like to see a pass play, at least the route run beyond the sticks. You know, that route was run, it was still 4 yards short of the sticks, and he was brought down immediately by the Maryville defender.
And now you give Maryville the football 51 yards from Pater at the 49-yard line, their own 49.
Yeah, with a chance to put this game to bed maybe right here.
First down and 10 for John Garrett.
Looked like they moved.
5-yard mark-off should go against Maryville. And you can see the coaching staff on the opposite side of the sidelines raising their hands, palms skyward, as if to say, guys, what are you doing?
Yeah, been pretty well played first half from the Maryville perspective. They did have the one turnover that I think was more of a good play by McLaughlin than it was just a miscue by the Rebels. And only had 5 penalties for 50 yards first half.
Football at the 44. Fake to Prevost and lunging forward to near the original line of scrimmage. That was prior to the penalty. And you've got picking up 4, close to 5.
And that's the thing that Alcoa's done a much better job of from the first couple possessions is playing the read option early in the game. I think Garrett's got 48 yards rushing. I would say he got 40 of those in the first 2 drives as they had no answer for him.
Downfield, it is off the fingertips, open and pass on the money, but Miller couldn't hang on.
As Maryville sneaks in their backup quarterback, Tyler Vaught, out wide as the receiver tried to double pass, and it was there, but Bryce Miller just not able to hang on. As Coach Quarles is renowned for his trick plays, but he's even more renowned for, Roberts, he just got impeccable timing. And I think that's a big key on the trick plays, is the timing of them and when you call them. And the thing is, people know they're coming. They know he's going to call one, but they still work. That one just failed for lack of execution.
You just don't know when you're going to pull one.
Yep.
Pass is complete. Cody Carroll, 20, 10. Wants his 3rd touchdown of the night, and did he make the dive into the end zone? No, he's a yard short.
And that's the one play Alcoa still hadn't been able to stop. The play action, off of the read option, and then hitting the guy running down the middle of the field in the seam route, as they were able to hit Carroll early in the game for a touchdown, came back and hit Kelby Brock for a touchdown on that same play. Very nearly with 3 for 3 as the 3rd touchdown, as Carroll is barely knocked out of bounds. Good hustle by McLaughlin to push him out of bounds at the 1.
First down and goal for Maryville, trying to take a 4-touchdown advantage. Inside 8 minutes to play in the 3rd. Hall make that Garrett with the give to Prevost, and Prevost has got it into the end zone. Touchdown from a yard away, and Prevost makes it a 27-0 advantage.
And that play may have been the backbreaker for Alcoa, as they just not much resistance on that handoff to Prevost off tackle. It just kind of walked into the end zone.
Luke Oren will try to tack on the extra point. He's done it 3 times previous. Out of the hold of John Garrett. And the kick is good. 28-0. It is Maryville with the advantage. 7:51 to play in the 3rd. This is the 10th anniversary of the Great American Rivalry Series. It's presented by the United States Marines.
Students wanting to go to college?
Parents, wanting to send your high school student to college? Know how you're going to pay for it?
Give us 2 minutes and we'll tell you everything you need to know.
There's no need to worry about how you're going to pay for college anymore. We'll show you exactly how to find grants, scholarships, and if you need it, a loan with the best terms available.
SLFC is here to help.
The Student Loan Finance Corporation works closely with students, as well as their lenders and schools, to alleviate education loan headaches. SLFC specializes in helping students with and servicing alternative loans that feed hungry minds nationwide. SLFC has now introduced a new
Period number 3. Live from Alcoa, Tennessee, it's the Great American Rivalry Series presented by the United States Marines and Hibbett Sports. Robert Williamson, David Ballman here at Bill Bailey Stadium. 28-0 lead. Well, unless you got Cam Newton at the helm. I think Auburn was down 28 zip to Alabama a couple of years back. Once you got a Cam Newton, it's tough to come back from 4 TDs down.
It most definitely is, and we just haven't seen enough from the Alcoa offense to think that they could sustain anything for 28 points in this short period of time against this Rebel defense, who, quite frankly, is dominated along the front. Their defensive line has done a great job of stifling and limiting anything Alcoa wants to do. And that last play when they hit Carroll to the 1 yard line, I think that took a lot of wind out of the sails of Alcoa, because that last touchdown, just very little resistance for Prevost on that short 1 yard run. I know he doesn't have very far to go, but just didn't look like there was much of an effort from the Alcoa defense on that play.
Still got 19 minutes of football left, so you don't have an Alcoa squad, by the way, that's just going to throw in the towel and quit. They're definitely going to do their best to get back into the ball game. But what do you gain from this? If in your mind you concede the loss, what do you gain or hope to gain from the final 19 minutes?
Well, you find out a lot about your team, find out a lot about the character of your team and the heart of your team. The thing they've got to remember is all their goals are still before them. This is a 6A school playing a 3A school. Alcoa probably won't see a better team than this the rest of the year. So it's important that they learn from this. They correct their mistakes and get better. But as I said, I think even more important is kind of find out what they're made of and find out what kind of team they're going to be for the rest of this season. Find out what kind of fight they're going to have the rest of this season.
Orange got it teed up at the 40. We're ready for the resumption of play. 7:41 left in the third. And it's a high pooch kick. Fair catch called for and made by Mitchell McClurg.
As they decide to change things up a little bit, the squib kick hasn't worked as they kicked the last two out of bounds. So this time, instead of putting at the 35-yard line, they go with the high pooch kick, which is able to pin Alcoa back a little bit further. They're still out at the 27-yard line, looks like, but not the 35.
First down at 10, 27-yard line for Alcoa. Down by 4 touchdowns. The latest of which came from a yard out, Sean Prevost. His first touchdown run of the ball game. Previous 3, John Garrett had been a part of. That one was almost picked off. Maryville's Paul Bristol had 6 in his eyes.
He does a great job breaking on the out route as Wall is rolling to his right as a left-handed quarterback. Just a little slow getting that out there. And Bristol does a great job of sitting on that pass and jumping on it. As once again, the Alcoa lineman's helmet comes off. He's got to leave the field. So Alcoa in another drive coming out, starting off behind the chains with 2nd and 10.
Wall underneath center on a 2nd and 10. Tyson trying the right side, and he slides across the 30 to the 32-yard line, gain of 3.
Good pursuit by the Maryville defense as the freshman defensive end who has played pretty well this game for what I've seen. Matt Young is able to help string things out, and Shinsky is able to get out there. One of the experienced, the lone returning starter at linebacker for Maryville, Dylan Shinsky. He's played in some of these big games, and it's good to see him out here playing well because he had a nasty compound fracture in the state championship game last year at the end of the season and was down on the field for quite a bit, and from all reports it was just very bad. So it's nice to see he's recovered fully and able to come out here and play.
Wall going upstairs, fires long into coverage, and it is incomplete. Well, you had more white jerseys than maroon.
You did. I don't think the Maryville defense was fooled on that play as John Riley McLaughlin was the lone receiver out there for Alcoa, and he was surrounded by 3 Rebel defenders. As Bristol there once again in coverage, Marcus Brooks, the safety's back there in coverage, and Chancellor Coates coming over from the other cornerback position. They just all converge on the ball, prevent McLaughlin from going up and making a play.
Punting situation with a 28-0 ball game in the third, 6:55 left in the stanza. Wall, who we mentioned earlier, not only QBs, but he handles the punting chores as well, will boot it away. Well, that almost turned into disaster for Marcus Brooks. Brooks was backing up, and if that pigskin hits the shoulder pad and it got very close, that's anybody's football.
That is, and that had been a huge break for Alcoa, much needed break. One thing Wall has done today is he's punted the ball well, very well. As he's been able to change field position a couple of times, now see if the Alcoa defense can capitalize on pinning the Rebels back deep.
Back to the 8-yard line where it is first down and 10.
And this, Robert, is where I've seen Rebels so many times over the year just take the life out of an opponent and go on a long drive, takes time off the clock, and cap it off with a touchdown.
Inside 7 to play, handoff. It is Prevost, I believe, on the carry. Let me make sure that is true. Indeed, Prevost getting the call. His number is asked for, and he's met and pounded.
Yeah, it's hit pretty hard by a couple of tornadoes. Keller Maples comes up from his linebacker position, helps finish it off. But not very often they've been able to stop Prevost for no gain.
Garrett almost picked off.
Great coverage that time by sophomore Caleb Woody as Maryville tries to attack the sophomore deep. It had Malik Love out there most of the time at corner, but this time Woody's out on the field as Alcoa's made some changes in the secondary. You see Sean Love out for the first time at one cornerback and Caleb Woody out at the other cornerback. So after seeing Cody Carroll mass over 100 yards receiving early on, the Alcoa coaches go with some changes in their secondary, trying to shake things up a little bit, and Woody comes out and makes a great play on the fade route.
And Cody Carroll, who was the intended target, had to become a defensive back to keep that one from being picked off. Third down long. Give up the middle, nothing for Prevost as he crosses the 10 to the 11-yard line. Needed 10, got 3, and it'll bring up a fourth down situation and a punting scenario for Maryville.
The Alcoa defense looked like they were prepared for that play. And Coach Quarles took his one shot downfield with the ball inside his own 10-yard line and a comfortable lead. No need to get crazy with the football right there. And Alcoa anticipated that run up the middle of Prevost and there to stop him.
Fourth down and 8. It is off the fingertips. Woody lost it. Who's got it back at the 30-yard line? Let's see if it's Alcoa or if it is Maryville. We have not seen, but it appears Alcoa was able to get on it. Woody, that could have been really bad for Alcoa, already down by 4 touchdowns.
And a great job by the Maryville punter that time of flipping field positions. He was standing in his own end zone when he punted the ball, and now Alcoa's going to take over possession at the 31-yard line.
Down to the sidelines we go in this Great American Rivalry Series.
This is David Fatzinger reporting live from Alcoa, Tennessee, side of the great game between Alcoa and Maryville. I'm standing here with Alcoa Athletic Director Josh Stevens. Josh, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Dave.
Josh, a lot of changes going on here at the high school. Tell me a little bit about what we're seeing all around the stadium.
Well, we've got a little construction going on, as you can see, that's helped add to the chaos for tonight's big rivalry. But we've got a new school under construction right now, hoping to be open in 2015. And with that, athletic department, we're excited. The next phase there is going to be some athletic facility, which is our football stadium. Hopefully some artificial turf and some upgrades to our home bleachers, scoreboard project with the Jumbotron, and just hopes to spruce up our environment.
Well, having been to this last several years, Josh, you've got a great fan base and a club that's making all this happen.
That's right. We're very fortunate. We've had success on the field, but we've got a great community, a great school, and it takes a lot of support to continue that tradition. But we definitely got it here at Alcoa, so we're fortunate.
Tell us about the history of this rivalry, Josh. I mean, everybody around here has been peaking for this game. Obviously, it's early in the season, but what does it mean to you personally?
Well, it's a rivalry, but it's a friendly rivalry. I mean, they're right across town here, probably 2 to 3 miles, and they've got a great program, very successful, just like we are. But but when it's all said and we hope they go on and win the championship, and they hope we win the championship too. So no matter the outcome of tonight's game, we can both still win a state championship, and that's our ultimate goal.
Well, Josh, thanks for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. Good luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you very much. Appreciate y'all coming.
This is David Fatzinger reporting live from Alcoa, Tennessee, and the Great American Rivalry Series Broadcast Network. Back to you in the booth.
All right, thank you so much. And you mentioned, David, all the construction work that has gone on. As that one is fumbled and then picked back up, I believe.
So they're going to rule. I wasn't sure if they're going to rule it incomplete or a catch. Obviously, they felt like he caught it and took enough steps, but Marcus Brooks just sat on the out route right there, jumped it, had visions of taking it to the house, and they're going to rule it a fumble. Catching a fumble.
So he had the interception and then dropped it.
Yeah, that might be an NFL replay overturn, but we've got the ability to rewatch it. They don't have that down there, but I'm not sure if he ever had control as he's trying to tuck it. But regardless, a great play by Marcus Brooks of just jumping the out route.
And off, Prevost inside the 15 to the 14-yard line. Well, the game is getting out of hand if you are an Alcoa fan. Of course, if you're a Maryville squad member, you're like, hey, this is perfect.
It's a great night to be a Maryville Rebel. Not so good being Alcoa Tornadoes. This is not, I don't think what anybody had in mind coming into this game.
Garrett down to the 15. Got back to the line of scrimmage, but did little more.
Bring up a big third down, and again, Alcoa's been able to stop Garrett on the run, but what they haven't been able to stop is that same play action, fake the dive, pull the ball, and then pull up and throw it over the middle, as they've been able to hit Cody Carroll wide open down the middle, Colby Brock earlier for a touchdown. Just haven't been able to answer everything. They've answered bits and pieces of the puzzle, but haven't been able to solve the puzzle. As George Quarles has done a great job of continuing to mix up his play calling and keep the Tornado defense off balance.
And now you've got a clock infraction. We are assuming a delay of game call. Let's see if that's what the officials indicate as well. No, they say a timeout was charged prior to the flag coming out. So a timeout asked for by Maryville. They lead at 28-zip. 4 minutes, 23 seconds left to play in the third. This is the 10th anniversary of the Great American Rivalry Series presented by the United States Marines.
There are a few who move toward the sounds of chaos, ready to respond at a moment's notice. And when the time comes, they are the first to move toward the sounds of tyranny, injustice, and despair. They are forged in the crucible of training. They are the few, the proud, the Marines.
.417 left to play in the third. 28-zip score. Maryville live from Alcoa, Tennessee. This is the Great American Rivalry Series presented by the United States Marines and by Hibbett Sports.
And on 3rd and 5 right there, Robert, Maryville goes for a fade in the corner of the end zone that's broken up nicely by Brendan Teeter from his safety position. It looks like Maryville's going to come out and try a field goal.
It will be an effort of 32 yards. And this Maryville squad, which scored 35 a week ago, trying to surpass the 30-point barrier here. Luke with a kick. And he's got it. Nails it from 32 yards away. And with 4:11 to play in the third, the lead extended beyond 30. A 31-zip Maryville lead. This is the 10th anniversary of the Great American Rivalry Series. It's presented by the United States Marines.
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
4:11 left to play in the third. 31-0 ball game. Maryville with the lead. We're live in Alcoa, Tennessee. Bill Bailey Stadium. Site of the Great American Rivalry Series, which is presented by the United States Marines and Hibbett Sports. Well, can you come back from way down with not a lot of time left to the ball game?
I think we may have asked that question enough. I don't think we can again. We've not seen any signs of life. Malik Love, who is one of Alcoa's most explosive playmakers, is standing on the sideline right now with no pads at all. Just got some shorts and an Under Armour shirt on, and not quite sure whether he's hurt or what the situation may be. But you know, even if you had any hopes to do that, he'd have to be one of the players to play into that if it's going to happen.
Pooch kick grabbed by McClurg. And it is first down and 10 for Alcoa.
And the thing I think you see is this Maryville defense just gaining confidence by the series.
And it looks like Wall has grabbed a chair. Quarterback keeper crossed the 30 to the 33-yard line. Goes Mitchell McClurg.
As McClurg comes in, and we speculated, you know, the odd substitution in the second quarter when Alcoa was driving, got inside the 20-yard line, and all of a sudden brought Wall out, put McClurg in. You know, I honestly think that what we just saw is the reason why. As you see McClurg get the snap and take off and run hard and pick up positive yardage, and they'd run a couple of running plays with Wall, who hadn't really, you know, exploded off, you know, with the ball, it looked like, and it may have been trying to send a message, but it ended up backfiring as they went backwards.
You got motion. I believe that was Matthew McClurg. Well, when you got your brother at the quarterback spot, you got to protect him.
You do, and Matthew eager to fire off the ball as his twin brother. You know, it's nice to see him out here on the field with numbers on, because when they're walking through the hallways, I can't tell them apart unless they're side by side, because Matthew's a little bit taller than Mitchell. So I've got to see him side by side to even be able to have a hope.
Well, the assumption is he is the heir apparent to the quarterback slot, being a sophomore, getting some playing time here in this rivalry series with a senior at the helm.
He is, and he's someone that the Alcoa coach staff's very excited about his potential.
Fake to Burgess, make that Hess rather, and the keeper by McClurg up to the 34-yard line. He will be a couple of yards shy of a first down marker, third and roughly 3, maybe a long 2.
As Tyson, who has limped through the last couple of series for the Tornadoes, is also on the sideline right now watching.
McClurg's been to the sidelines, has instructions. This is an important showing for McClurg, though. He wants to prove to coach that he's got an opportunity, or should have an opportunity, to get more playing time.
This is, and this is still the Maryville first-team defense on the field.
McClurg on the keeper. He's got the first, crosses the 40 to the 42-yard line, and those sticks on the sidelines will have to move forward.
McClurg shows a little bit of his ability right there, and athletic ability, as he gets through the hole quickly and runs hard.
First down and 10, Alcoa.
McClurg just a sophomore, but he's probably every bit of 6'3", 6'4", probably pushing over 200 pounds, as he's a very stout frame. So this is what he can bring you.
Well, there are things you would like to do if you concede that you're probably going to lose the game, and one of those is to get rid of that goose egg as a penalty flag flies in late on the Devin Devine carry.
Probably going to be a holding, and it is.
So if you're a Maryville, you've got a decision: push them back 10 from the spot of the infraction, or take the down, which got a yard.
The Tornadoes just get something going. It's one step forward and 2 steps back. That's been the case for their offense throughout this game. When they get something positive going, you know, they've ended up making a mistake that drops them back. They had the first half possession to the 20, 2 straight penalties put them in from 1st and 10 to 1st and 20 at the 30, and they never could recover. Ended up on the goal line, fumbled 2 straight snaps, and ended up losing the second one. And same thing here. Big first down, then they get a big 10-yard penalty.
Receivers stacked to the left side. Quarterback keeper by McClurg to the 40, 45. He stumbles forward to the 49-yard line. Got the 10 back on the holding infraction and 8 more.
And again, just shows some of the promise that the coaching staff has seen in young McClurg. Doesn't need a big hole to get through, as he shows good vision and powerful running.
Bryce Miller slow getting up, but he is up.
So Maryville just replaces him with D1 talent Dylan Jackson back into the game. Take Bryce's place.
Miller with the trot to the sidelines. There you get a good look at the sophomore. Called upon to replace Peyton Wall. Wall likely getting the rest of the night off. Second down and 2, football to the 49-yard line. Pitch back to Love. Love trying to get around the end and cannot. Loses 3, 3rd and 5 coming up.
Great job on the outside by the Rebel defense, as that is John David Mitchell coming up quick from his safety position to prevent Love, probably the fastest tornado. That's Sean Love from bouncing outside as Mitchell closes quickly and is able to bring him down for a loss.
Well, McClurg has been in situations like this before on this drive. 3rd and long. Here he's got to grab about 7, close to 8 to extend the drive and get inside Rebel territory. High snap, McClurg able to bring it in, but he is dropped way behind the line. Well, that's what the significance is of that snap from center to quarterback. It just disrupted the flow of the play immediately.
Yeah, threw off the timing, and that's a freshman from Maryville, Matt Young, doing a great job getting penetration and making a nice play to tackle McClurg for a big loss on 4th down. And again, starts off promising for Alcoa with a couple first downs. Now they end up having to punt the ball again. So here you see Wall back into the game as a punter. And there's another penalty for Alcoa not having the right personnel on the field. And I can tell you, Coach Rankin, Alcoa with an off week next week, as they played week 0, and we've got fall break coming up. They're going to be off this next week. I would imagine it's going to be a rough practice for the Tornadoes this week with the lack of discipline and all the penalties we've seen from them.
Well, at least on that particular play, they can argue, Coach, that flag was on the sidelines, turned into a sideline warning. Flag waved off at the sidelines. Given a warning, Wall kicks it away. Cody Carroll making the grab at the 23. Flags come in as he makes his way to the 27.
We get a block in the back as Jared Henderson, the gunner, does a great job coming down, making the tackle for the Tornadoes, despite being blocked in the back, it looks like.
Well, during the course of 84 previous years, there have not been a whole lot of shutouts. And Alcoa would like to avoid that same fate here tonight. 10 seconds left of the 3rd, blanked thus far. 31-zip score. A couple of quick touchdowns. As a matter of fact, the opening drive went 3 plays, 68 yards, and consumed less than 50 seconds, and Maryville was on the board.
Yeah, Alcoa's not been shut out, as you said, since 2003. And before then, it was 1987. So, as you said, the last 20-some years, they've been shut out twice. Last 30 years.
Penalty yardage marked off against the Rebels. Instead of the 27, you've got the football inside the 15 to the 14-yard line. Probably one more play in the 3rd, then we get to the final 12 minutes of this one. And you got a new quarterback in the backfield for Maryville, Tyler Vaught, now at the helm.
Tyler Vaught is probably a little bit better athlete than Garrett as far as running, and actually just has a better arm than Garrett, but just not quite the improviser that John Garrett is. It isn't going to make that play out of seemingly nothing like Garrett does, and that's what the Maryville coach staff loves about Garrett, is not necessarily his physical attributes, but the intangibles that he brings to the field.
No gain on the play by Burgess. Handoff to Prevost. Time will expire as he crosses the 20 to the 22-yard line. 3rd down and 5 coming up. That's how we'll start the 4th. It's a 31-0 advantage that belongs to Maryville. This is the 10th anniversary of the Great American Rivalry Series presented by the United States Marines.
There are a few who move toward the sounds of chaos, ready to respond at a moment's notice. And when the time comes, they are the first to move toward the sounds of tyranny, injustice, and despair. They are forged in the crucible of training. They are the few, the proud, the Marines.
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
31-0 advantage. Maryville with the lead. Live from Alcoa, Tennessee. This is the Great American Rivalry Series presented by the United States Marines and Hibbett Sports. We've got 12 minutes left in the 85th renewal of this Battle of the Pistol Creek. Maryville a 31-0 advantage, and you've got some stats for us through 3.
I do. After 3, obviously your score 31-0. First downs, Maryville leads 14-8. Rushes, Maryville has 33 rushes for 197 yards. Alcoa 31 for 91. Passing, Maryville 6 of 11 for 170 yards. Alcoa 8 of 17 for 75 with 1 interception.
Vaught at quarterback. He'll go the rest of the way at the QB slot. At least that's her assumption, with John Garrett getting the rest of the night off. So to the starter, Peyton Wall for Alcoa. Grabbing a chair on the sidelines. Burgess, the guy in motion. Handoff is fake to Burgess as Vaught crosses the 20 to the 21-yard line. Might have gotten a yard out of a 3rd down situation in which he needed more.
Vaught hurt, and he looks like he's in a lot of pain. He's just grabbing his face mask, kind of rolling around on the field. Not what the Rebel coach staff wants to see, because Vaught is the backup quarterback, but also, one of their better athletes. Is he caught the first touchdown of the year last week against Webb on a nice little fade pattern. So this puts a little damper on what's otherwise been a great night for the Maryville Rebel football team. Dr. Joe Black, who works for Appalachian Therapy here in Blount County, they do a great job of attending to all the high schools in the county. There's 4 high schools here in this county, Robert. We've got, of course, the 2 city schools, Alcoa City and Maryville City. But then the county schools got 2 high schools, both bigger than Maryville. They're both over 1,600 students. Heritage High School and William Blount, and Appalachian Therapy just provides their services to all 4 high schools here in the county.
Let's take a timeout. Hope for the best for Vaught as he gets up, at least to the seated position. This is the 10th anniversary of the Great American Rivalry Series, presented by the United States Marines.
There's no need to worry about how you're going to pay for college anymore. The iHelp loan program enables students to fill their needs when financing their education. If you need to borrow money for college, as most Americans do, SLFC and the iHelp loan program may be your best option. The loan features the most competitive rate available and is offered through your local ICBA bank with the help of SLFC, the student loan company thousands have trusted to help them pay for college. Go to slfc.com and explore all your options now.
Well, we won't see the punt yet. That's because Tyler Vaught He is slow getting to the sidelines, but the partisan Maryville fans chanting Tyler Vaught with each step, and that step seemed to get a little lighter.
Seemed to pick it up a little bit of motivation.
11:38 left to play in the football game. Maryville with a 31-0 advantage. Fair catch called for and made. That grab by Dustin Clabo.
So Alcoa just looking to get on the scoreboard here. Again, just trying to see what they've got. They still got their starting offensive line on the field. Just some change in the backfield as Tyson looks like he's done for the night. Wall looks like he's done for the night. Brody Hess still out there at fullback, but Devin Devine is the new tailback for Alcoa.
First down and 10 at the 40. McClurg with a gift to Devine, and Devine got to the line of scrimmage.
And that's Brant Sloan inside on the tackle for Maryville. He's been very active on the defensive front for the Maryville Rebels. His younger brother, Brody, is a heck of an athlete himself. He's a quarterback for my little boy's midget football team here in the county. So I have to tell Brody his brother played a nice ball game tonight.
Gain of a yard on the Devine carry. It is second down and 9. Football at the 41-yard line. McClurg for Wall. Finds a little running room up the middle, and the quarterback, especially a sophomore, is not supposed to lower his head and pound the defensive player like that, but McClurg picks up some nice yardage.
He does, and again, that's what McClurg brings to the table is, not quite as big as Wall, but definitely a much more physical runner than Wall is. As he puts his shoulder down and runs through, Ethan Dudley, the starting linebacker for Maryville, still on the field. As Maryville still has most of their starters on the field defensively. At least in the front seven. I see a whole change in the secondary, but their front seven minus Dylan Jackson is still pretty much intact.
Third down, 3. Football at the 47. Miller in motion. Fake to Miller. McClurg's got the first. And he pounds a Rebel down to the 42-yard line.
And this is very reminiscent of Tim Tebow from Florida. If you came up and tackled him, you're going to take a little bit of punishment. And that's definitely what McClurg is doing, is he is finishing off his runs more like a fullback than a quarterback.
Josh Yoakum on the receiving end of a punishing blow from McClurg. Football down to the 42-yard line where it is first down and 10. Clock continuing to roll as McClurg gives to Hess, loses the football, but McClurg alertly falls on it.
As Hess is met on a big hit from freshman middle linebacker T.D. Blackman. Hadn't called his name a whole lot tonight, but has obviously been very solid for Maryville in the middle of the defense.
Alcoa trying to get rid of the goose egg. Maryville trying to preserve the shutout. Second down and 11. Loss of a half yard on the fumble by Hess. And now a flag. It has been penalty marred to some degree.
Yeah, been a little bit sloppy, especially I think from the Alcoa side.
Offsides against Alcoa.
And again, that's just someone breaking the huddle and being sloppy. Just putting your hand down past the ball. That can't happen. Those are mistakes you just can't have. And again, Coach Rankin not going to be pleased with this, but there's going to be a lot of stuff for him to work on, point out on film. He will definitely have Tornado's attention this week in the film room and on the practice field. Well,
we mentioned it earlier. The only loss of the regular season for Alcoa last year was against this Maryville squad. McClurg with a pitch back. Devine looking for some running room, found none. 3rd and 17 coming up.
Actually, that's Sean Love that time came into the game as they're rotating Devine and Love here late in the game with Tyson probably resting a sore ankle. No sense in sending him back out here with a score well out of hand for the Tornadoes.
And we got a timeout charge to Alcoa. 8:43 to play, 31-zip Maryville. This is the 10th anniversary of the Great American Rivalry Series presented by the United States Marines.
Welcome to the biggest games in high school football, the Great American Rivalry Series. 46 matchups, each one a classic. These are the nights you'll always remember. This is football, the way it was meant to be. In the stands and in the trenches, the Rivalry Series is the real thing. Don't miss out when the greatest show in high school sports comes to town. Go to GreatAmericanRivalry.com. The Great American Rivalry Series from iHigh.
There are a few who move toward the sounds of chaos. Forged in the crucible of training, they are the first to move toward the sounds of tyranny, injustice, and despair. They are the few, the proud, the Marines.
31-zip score, Maryville with the advantage. We're live from Alcoa, Tennessee. It's the Great American Rivalry Series presented by the United States Marines and Hibbett Sports. Ball game that got a late start because of the middle school outing that went a little long and preceded this one. Then you had a nearly 1 hour first quarter, about a 45-minute quarter number 2. Your typical halftime, and then somewhat back to normal in the third, but it has pushed us awfully late here in the Eastern time zone. We're looking at 20 till 11.
Yeah, it's a late night for anybody. It's my little boy. He just went home with his grandfather. He came up here about 30 minutes ago, said he'd had enough. His grandfather had enough, so he's headed to the house. But
I noticed you tried to offer him the headphones and said, let me go with Grandpa.
Yeah, let's trade out. It'd been nice. Get in bed. Luckily, we've got a 3-day weekend coming up, so we're off Monday for Labor Day. So first break of the year, we've gone pretty solid, and we've already been in school for 6 weeks now. You know, we start early. We're on a semi-year-round schedule, so we'll go for another couple weeks, and we'll have our fall break at the end of September, 2 weeks then, and then we get 2 weeks for Christmas, then we get 2 weeks for spring break. So it's a nice little schedule, but not real fun when you're starting school in July, the end of July, which is what we did.
Now, how does that work? Is it per district or is it statewide?
It's per district. It's just whatever district wants to do. Most districts now have a fall break and a spring break, but they just don't have the 2-week time period that we do.
McClurg on a third down and long. Pass is complete, and well, a little extra pounding to Caleb Woody after he tried to pick up additional yardage.
Yeah, made the first man miss, but then he was hit by a host of Rebels. I'll say this, it's 31-0 8 minutes ago, but Maryville is still trying to hold on to the shutouts. They've subbed in the secondary. They've got their whole second string out in the secondary, cornerbacks and safeties, but their front seven remains pretty much intact out there on the field. I think they would desperately love to pitch a shutout in this big rivalry game. And I'll say this, Maryville struggled with confidence early this year. They went to Cookeville and scrimmaged Innsworth High School, which is probably the top team in the state of Tennessee. They're a private school out of Nashville in the large school, private school division, not like Webb's in the small school. And from all reports, it was just a dress down they got from Innsworth.
Wall into punt. Pooch kick. Carroll pretends to make the grab, and that sucks the defenders in long enough to get it to travel into the end zone and bring it out to the 20, where it will be first down and 10 for Maryville.
So I'd heard that the Maryville team was really struggling with confidence after that scrimmage with Innsworth, but they came back obviously with a big win last week against Webb, and they've got to be more than happy with the results of the game tonight against the big rival Alcoa.
Thought stays on the sidelines. The injury has got him over on the far sidelines. I don't think that is Garrett back in the lineup, though.
No, it's number 15, Zach Cardwell, in the game, looks like, for Maryville.
So Cardwell, who was not anticipating playing time, was not anticipating something that goes over his head, and that might be what takes the goose egg off the board. Let's see if it is a safety or a touchdown.
They're unpiling them, and it's going to be a safety. Cardwell able to fall on the ball, but Alcoa will take it.
Well, kind of an unusual way to get rid of the goose egg, but as you mentioned, Alcoa will take whatever they can get.
Most definitely, and come out here after the kickoff or the punt and chance to get the ball back. Robert, here's the thing. Every time I look at the clock, it stopped. I keep looking up, and it still stopped. It's been a hot, long night.
What a facility here, though, and you heard during the conversation on the sidelines that the facility gets even better. You're moving the high school to a different location. I'm assuming the stadium is still in use here, but the actual campus for Alcoa goes elsewhere.
Well, they're it just moves across the street. You know, the construction is right here across the street, and what you can't see past the trees is it's all completely cleared out. It used to be a little forest back there. It's all cleared out now, and looks like they've got everything prepared to lay the foundation down, as they've been working pretty solid for the past month of preparing everything. And it's going to be a beautiful high school. And this facility is actually going to get a facelift. These bleachers and this press box have been here for years, and from what I understand, it's going to be torn up. The field's going to be relatively in the same place. I think going to be rotated slightly and maybe moved over slightly to make room for a field house over here where you see the end zone now. But plans are for a turf field, all new stadium, and a field house.
And it's all compliments of an agreement with the community to pay a little extra money on their sales tax.
Yeah, most definitely. They had a vote for the community. They were raising the sales tax, and the understanding was that every bit of the money was going towards the school system. And just as Coach Stevens alluded to at the half, this is a community school, and the community supports the school. And you heard Todd Upton mention it at the half as well, how much the community means to him. That vote passed by more than 70%, which nowadays when you hear anybody vote to raise taxes, that's a very surprising number to hear 70% of the people in support of that. But the fact that all the money was going towards the new high school and the new stadium down the road, the Alcoa community came out in droves to support it.
You mentioned that the clock has not moved. We had a play and the clock still didn't move. No. So I don't know if the clock is functional. Well, it's moving now as the high snap is brought down by McClurg, put in the gut of Hess, and Hess tried to get back to the line of scrimmage but could not. Actually, that's McClurg that tried to but could not, and now you've got an injured Tornado.
And again, the Rebel defensive front, as they've done the whole game, doing a great job controlling the line of scrimmage, and actually do have some subs in now as Maryville has substituted wholesale in their defense. They've got a whole new front seven in the game. They already had substitutes in the secondary, but now they're subbing everywhere up front. As you see, the backup Rebels getting their chance to shine. And Alcoa still with primarily their first team offensive line, but a whole new backfield with McClurg and Devine and Love splitting carries.
McClurg on the keeper to the left side, and he stumbles forward to the 45, got back to the line of scrimmage, might have squeaked out a yard. 3rd and long coming up.
Yeah, and a good play on the edge that time by Daniel West, the reserve linebacker who was being blocked, actually able to hang on to McClurg and bring him down as he was being blocked. So there's the clock going. 3rd down. One thing we haven't got to here in Tennessee, we've got the mercy rule. When it gets to 35, the clock will run no matter what. We've never been able to get to that point.
McClurg with a give to the first guy through. Stacked up at the line, it will be 4th and long.
And it's just hard to discern who's making the tackle for Maryville. There's so many people there on the front. As Alcoa is going to bring on the punt team once again, as that's been a common refrain from us tonight. The Alcoa punt team coming onto the field.
Carroll stands back at his 15. Wall at his home 35. Line drive kick. Picked up at the 5. And out of the 13-yard line, penalty flags come out.
I think we have a block in the back. This is the one place where Maryville has not been very sharp, is on their special teams. They've had a couple penalties that have backed them up even further off of punts primarily.
By the way, it was Brock on the return. Cody Carroll had been back there previously, but Brock got an opportunity, but there were plenty of flags thrown. Well, it wasn't great field position to begin with, about the 13-yard line, but after the penalty flags fly, you've got Maryville shoved back inside the 5-yard line.
And Alcoa, maybe another opportunity to get on the board again with the safety. That's been the only offense they've had tonight. And that came courtesy of a bad Rebel snap.
.6:11 left to play in the game. Handoff. And there might be another safety as Walensky, the sophomore, tries to get out of that end zone.
They're going to mark his forward progress just across the goal line as I look across the way, and the Maryville stand still pretty full of jamming as the band plays, and the Alcoa stands are thinning out.
Well, we know, and we will announce at the end of the ball game the MVP of tonight's outing. Again, not much up the middle, but neither team really looking for much. Both teams now looking at that clock frequently, trying to get that 5:31 to tick down and wrap this one up.
Yeah, I know both coaches are going to be glad to get this game over with and get this week over with and get on with their normal routine. Maryville's going to leave this game with a lot of confidence. Alcoa's going to leave this game with a lot of things to work on. But this is still, as I said, officially week one. Although it's the second game of the year, it's still week one in the Tennessee football calendar, so very early in the year. A lot of things still to accomplish for both these teams. And, you know, there's been many times with 7 times. As a matter of fact, the loser of this game has still gone on to win state. You know, as I said, 7 times both these teams have won. So, you know, losing this game is not the end of a season.
Zach Cardwell, a few more instructions from Coach before stepping back into the huddle. Hey, don't forget, football fans, grab your phone, text MVP to 57758 to get a 10% off coupon for your next trip to Hibbett's. Cardwell out to the 30.
Just looked like they caught the Alcoa defense off guard. Snapped it and just took off up the middle before anybody even realized he had the ball. And he limps off the field now as Maryville's third quarterback gets hurt, as he was kind of dragged down from behind. I think he ended up hurting his ankle.
Well, I think he came out of his shoe. Tried to get that shoe on before the 30-second clock goes down, but instead you've got a fourth quarterback used by Maryville. Thought that Garrett might have come back into the lineup, but instead you got Zach Pitt getting some playing time.
We're going deep into the bench just to keep a healthy quarterback. I would say they would use somebody else that's not taking many snaps before they put Garrett back into this game at this point in time with the score the way it is.
Well, Pitt lasted a play. You got Cardwell back in. 2nd down, 6, football at the 35. A lot of clean jerseys on both sides of the football. Cardwell didn't want to get rid of it, but finally sticks it into the gut of Zach Zwolenski, and Zwolenski makes his way to near the 40-yard line.
And that's something that Maryville's done for years, Robert, is just that long mesh where the quarterback and the running back both kind of simultaneously have the ball, and they read it for a while. And you know, last year with Nick Myers, who, as I said, went on to have an all-state season for him, seems like he would just sidestep with the back 2 or 3 steps before he'd finally give it or finally pull it and keep it. But they get that long mesh to allow them to get a good read on the defensive end.
Zwolenski comes up about the length of the football short of a first, 3rd, and very short. Cardwell will probably get the first if they give him his forward progress.
And they do. Maryville will retain possession. And the clock will tick on.
And the chains will move.
Keller Maples back on the field as Alcoa with some secondary starters and linebacker starters still in the game. I see a number of starters on the field still for Alcoa's defense.
Spin move by Zwolensky to get to the 45-yard line. Picks up 3.
As there is Caleb Birchfield out there. Jonathan Decker's a starter. Keller Maples a starter. Jake Warwick started. Brendan Teeter started the game at safety. So, a number of Alcoa starters, primarily first-year starters that are not seniors, still on the field, just getting some experience to prepare them for the rest of this season.
2nd down 5 as we near the 2-minute mark. Cardwell lost it, fell on it back at the 39, loses 7. Third down 12.
That's the second snap miscue we've had since Cardwell coming to the game.
Well, the 85th renewal of this Battle of Pistol Creek rivalry is about to be in the books.
It is, and there have been much better games than this one, I can promise you that.
Maryville out to a quick start, handoff. Looking for a little running room. Zwolensky no longer in the lineup. You've got Brody Hess make that Joel Hopkins getting some carries for Maryville.
Keller Maples, again, junior starter linebacker, still in the game, makes a tackle for Alcoa. Punt team comes onto the field for Maryville as the clock ticks. I would imagine we'll get this punt and one more play, and that'll be the ball game.
Caleb Woody back deep to receive. John Riley McLaughlin as well. Fair catch called for, made, dropped. Battle for the loose ball at the 24-yard line.
I thought the guy ran into McLaughlin right there, but they're not going to call that.
Well, I guess if you're Alcoa, all's well that ends well. Winds up back in the hands of the Tornadoes.
Retain possession, and I can't imagine Coach Rankin and any of the Alcoa staff wanting to extend this game much longer.
It has been a long one.
I would look for a run up the middle and wind the clock.
44 seconds remain. Tomorrow night, off to Pennsylvania, Aliquippa and Ambridge, as the Great American Rivalry Series continues, brought to you by the United States Marines and by Hibbett Sports. McClurg underneath center. Love on the keeper, and he's wrapped up at the 26-yard line. Got a yard out of it.
Alcoa brings some more substitutions into the game, and they're going to run one more play, it looks like.
Stands beginning to thin on both sides of the stadium here at Bill Bailey. Should be last play of the football game, but, well, I guess I shouldn't have said anything. Flags fly in, and we've got this one delayed a little bit more. Illegal formation.
Robert, I think we could have let you guys take off for Aliquippa at the half. You wouldn't have missed much in this second half.
It has been all Maryville in this one. Scored early, scored often. Lone 2 points that belonged to Alcoa came via the safety, and Alcoa will not snap the football again. This one's over. 85th renewal of the rivalry between Alcoa and Maryville is a victory that belongs to the Rebels. 31-2 your final score. We're back with postgame right after we take a timeout. It's the 10th anniversary of the Great American Rivalry Series presented by the United States Marines.
There are a few who move toward the sounds of chaos, ready to respond at a moment's notice. And when the time comes, they are the first to move toward the sounds of tyranny, injustice, and despair. They are forged in the crucible of training. They are the few, the proud, the Marines.
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
Welcome to the biggest games in high school football, the Great American Rivalry Series. 46 matchups, each one a classic. These are the nights you'll always remember. This is football, the way it was meant to be. In the stands and in the trenches, the Rivalry Series is the real thing. Don't miss out when the greatest show in high school sports comes to town. Go to GreatAmericanRivalry.com. The Great American Rivalry Series from iHigh.
Well, David Bauman, this 85th renewal of this rivalry between Alcoa and Maryville over, it was an impressive win for Maryville. They come out early, they score quickly, really never look back. The 2 points scored by the defense, otherwise you got a blanking of Alcoa. But this has happened to Alcoa before. A year ago, they lose to this Maryville squad, win all the rest of their regular season games, don't suffer a loss again until they get into postseason play. So it's certainly not the end of the road for Alcoa, but an impressive win for Maryville.
Yeah, it's not the end of the road, but very disappointing night, obviously. But great showing from Maryville Rebels and their coaching staff, and in particular quarterback John Garrett as he builds off his opening night performance. Comes out tonight, has another outstanding effort as he finished the night with 170 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 53 yards rushing, added another touchdown on the ground. So just outstanding effort from John Garrett and from the Maryville Rebels as they look to continue to build and improve, and they look like they're well on their way.
Well, and it's interesting that you would mention John Garrett because this ballot that I hold right here in my hands has the name of the MVP, and it is the guy that wears number 12 for Maryville, John Garrett. And you and I agree that he is certainly worthy of that MVP status.
Most definitely, and you talk to anybody associated with Maryville High School, and the first thing they'll tell you about John Garrett is that he's a winner. You know, he's a 4-year starter for their basketball team. Single-handedly helped them to advance to the state tournament with a great showing in a sub-state game last year on the road at Science Hill when they were down late, but just outstanding competitor. As I said, not the flashiest athlete, not the quickest, not the strongest, not the best arm, but he makes plays. You saw a lot of that tonight. A lot of improvisation from him. A lot of running around until he was able to make a play and find an opening. And he's not going to make huge plays, but he's going to make the right play most of the time.
Pull some bright spots from tonight for Alcoa.
I think the bright spots were that they improved defensively, especially after the quick start. I think they just kind of got punched in the mouth a couple of times, and they showed some fight, showed that they got back up. I think they found a little bit with Mitchell McClure. I think they definitely have a backup quarterback, maybe even an option to put in if Wall's not quite playing the way they expect him to play. And he didn't have his best game. Peyton Wall's a much better quarterback than what he showed tonight. So it was encouraging to see what Mitchell McClure can bring to the table. And I just think the other encouraging thing is that this is still a young Alcoa team. This is a great lesson for them to learn, and it's going to be real easy for the coaching staff to get their attention this next week at practice.
Maryville improving to 2-0 on the young season. Meanwhile, the squad from Alcoa falls to 1-1. We've got a big piece of hardware to hand out in just a bit. We'll do that after the break. This is the 10th anniversary of the Great American Rivalry Series, brought to you by the United States Marines.
The Great American Rivalry Series. 48 classic matchups nationwide. The biggest moments under the brightest lights. Hardcore great American football the way it was meant to be. In the stands and on the field. Be a part of the action when the greatest show in high school sports comes to a town near you. The Great American Rivalry Series. Presented by the United States Marines. From I-High. Who's your rival?
There's no need to worry about how you're going to pay for college anymore. The I-Help loan program enables students to fill their needs when financing their education. If you need to borrow money for college, as most Americans do, SLFC and the I-Help loan program may be your best option. The loan features the most competitive rate available and is offered through your local ICBA bank with the help of SLFC, the student loan company thousands have trusted to help them pay for college. Go to slfc.com and explore all your options now.
Welcome to the biggest games in high school football, the Great American Rivalry Series. 46 matchups, each one a classic. These are the nights you'll always remember. This is football, the way it was meant to be. In the stands and in the trenches, the Rivalry Series is the real thing. Don't miss out when the greatest show in high school sports comes to town. Go to GreatAmericanRivalry.com. The Great American Rivalry Series from I-High.
Well, it's a victory that belongs to Maryville, 31-2, your final score. And we got some trophies to hand out and more. Of course, we've already mentioned the fact that the MVP of the game is John Garrett. Big performance tonight. And your Great American Rivalry Series and the United States Marines are excited to acknowledge the fact that the Rebels are the champions, and they are your winners in this renewal, the 85th renewal of the rivalry between Alcoa and Maryville. And as the 2013 Great American Rivalry Series champion, we say hats off to Maryville. Boy, it was a nice night for the squad that is only about 10 miles away, but that brief drive home will be pleasant.
It'll be a sweet drive home. It'll be a sweet weekend for the Maryville Rebels and their coaching staff and fans and players, and another great job by Coach Quarles and his staff. As I said, had some struggles early on, some preseason scrimmages from reports, and they've righted the ship and they've learned from those, and they've done what a good team does. Hopefully the Alcoa Tornadoes are going to come back and do the same thing. And knowing Coach Rankin and his outstanding coaching staff, they'll do that. They'll learn from this and they'll move forward and they'll go on. But tonight's rivalry, not much of a rivalry, as the Maryville Rebels basically own this game and they extend their lead in the series. But Alcoa will live to fight another day, and Maryville's going to, both teams, look to wrap up the season like they have 7 times in the past, where both teams have gone on to be state champion in their respective classes.
Well, there's a big piece of hardware that now belongs on the trophy shelf at Maryville. Compliments of the Great American Rivalry Series and the United States Marines, of course, Hibbett Sports as well, making our coverage possible. We say thank you very much to both. And David Bauman, thank you. Great job on the color analysis.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. Nice to meet you, and have a great trip to Alcoa.
We'll do that. Of course, tomorrow night, you've got Alcoa taking on Ambridge as the series continues. And I'm looking down on the field below, and it looks like that trophy will be handed out in just a moment. So we want to keep it right here and make sure that it changes hands. That's a coveted piece of hardware, and you don't want to go away without being able to verify the guys that deserve it got it. And, of course, Maryville with that 31-2 victory able to come away with not only a win, not only improved to 2-0 on the season, but they are now in possession of the Great American Rivalries Trophy. Well, that's going to do it for us from here. A very warm night here in Alcoa, Tennessee. I was up in Rockwood a couple of weeks ago. It was 55 degrees on a Sunday night. I don't know what you did between then and now, but it's gotten a little warm. So we're going to wrap up the coverage and say thank you very much for being on the other end of the broadcast. David Bauman, great working with you. Look for another opportunity soon. James Crenshaw is our executive producer. Robert Williamson saying so long from Alcoa.
The Great American Rivalry Series. 48 classic matchups nationwide. The biggest moments under the brightest lights. Hardcore great American football the way it was meant to be. In the stands and on the field. Be a part of the action when the greatest show in high school sports comes to a town near you. The Great American Rivalry Series. Presented by the United States Marines. From High. Who's your rival?